It's Man Cave Monday!
This is Man Cave Monday. I'm here with quite a few of my co-hosts here. You know what I mean? We got almost the whole squad tonight. You know what I'm saying? That makes me happy to be here with my guys. So, we're going to introduce ourselves. Who are we? It's Man Cave Monday. I got Days with me. I got Ness with me. I got Dex with me. I got Dre with me. And I got my ring light with me. I know y'all see it in the specs. Just being a little bit of an asshole. And shout out to Days. This is his shirt. You know what I mean? Very, very happy to have this shirt on. It's
Yeah,
a good
appreciate
one right
you,
here.
brother. Facts over feelings.
That's right. Facts over feelings. So let's hit these topics. Let's get it popping. So what we got tonight? This might be a wild one. So let's start off on the wild side. You know what I'm saying? So Dre's question is, Dre threw this in the topic list a while ago. And thank you for that. You know what I mean? Thank you for throwing topics in there. It's appreciated. And shout out to Tez, who's not with us, but he sparked a really interesting conversation, a whole rabbit hole of conversations last episode. So y'all will be seeing that. So Dre's topic is, what is an alpha male, and are you one? Dre, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I do. So I hear this lately in the manosphere, if you will. You know,
That's what they call
people
it.
are kind of like,
That's what they call it.
yeah,
These
yeah.
terms.
Yo, man, I don't come up with them.
That's
Cats
what they
just,
call it. No, you didn't
yeah,
make it up. That's what they
yeah,
call
exactly.
That is the term.
First
That
time
is
I
the
ever
term.
heard it.
That is the
The
term,
term.
Teaching me a whole bunch of shit.
it. Oh yeah,
and it's
that's what they
been
call it.
swirling around,
I don't
and
need
it's basically. And when I say the manosphere, it's not just this is something that men are saying. A lot of times, women are saying it too. You know, men might be saying, you know, oh, that's not a thing that a person did. That's not alpha, or that is alpha, or
Right.
you know, a woman might tell somebody, oh, well, you're not acting like an alpha, or you're acting like a beta because you didn't do A, B, and C. And I keep
Correct.
hearing it, and I'm like, well, okay, let's talk about this, because what exactly is that, you know? And I want to know if people like see themselves as that. You know, when you look up the word, it basically just means a dominant male in a particular group, and it's basically basically it's for animals. You know what I'm saying? It's like a whoever is the dominant animal in a specific group. And I feel like it's kind of weird that us as civilized people are using these terms. So I wanted to know, like, when y'all hear that term, how do you feel about it? What do you feel like it means, and how does it feel like it relates to you, basically?
Well, can we break down all of the components before we?
I'm right here with you. One second.
Alpha,
Pulling up the definition.
alpha, omega, beta, echelon.
So,
right? I said right. Alpha,
Okay.
omega, beta, and echelon.
technically, there is
Talk to
3
him, Ness.
common ones.
Okay.
It's alpha male, beta male, and sigma male.
Right.
So the alpha male, the history behind the alpha beta male thing came from them trying to relate to wolves and how their hierarchy is set up and whatnot, and that's based off of a study of wolves that was proven to be completely false anyway. So they don't have that hierarchy structure, period. So the whole alpha wolf ideology isn't even true. So they based it off of that, and that was something that was debunked. And so it's, yeah. So the way it's represented now,
So it's been hijacked.
The way it was taken from that to create this whole thing, like, oh yeah, because the alpha male is the leader, they're the head of their pack, they're the protector, they're the ones that, you know, take care of things and handle shit when shit goes down and all of that. And then you have the beta male is kind of the one that's like passive and lets their woman handle things and is I mean passive is probably like the most easiest thing to say about it.
Yeah.
Then you have sigma male, which was something that popped up in the last couple of years, which is someone who doesn't care about the hierarchy. They don't care about doing anything to gain a woman's attention. They don't care about any of those things. Everything they do for themselves, essentially. The lone wolf.
I was about to say,
if you wanna connect it back to that
wolves,
that whole
lone
setup.
wolf. Right.
Yeah, he's the lone wolf, and
Right.
that's what a Sigma male is. Someone who sets up things where it's like, oh, I do this, but it's not for the benefit of anybody else, or to pull a woman's attention. It's all for me.
What about the other two?
That's it. Those are like the three major ones. Those are the ones. You'll hear like other ones probably pop up, but in general, it's as far as that, it was always alpha beta males, and then they introduced sigma males later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so those are the three. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, he's right.
Yes.
So I got here.
I'm sorry. I remember I was watching something where they was talking about echelons operating as alphas. They disguise themselves as alphas, but they're echelons. And based off of the definition that you gave, a beta and an echelon sound like they go hand in hand. It sound like they go hand in hand. Yeah, they sound like they operate from the same compass.
Yeah, there's probably like other one, but like those are like the three main
ideals.
Those are the ones. Yeah, those are the ones that like are usually discussed.
Okay.
Yeah. So CambridgeDictionary.org says there's two definitions. In biology, the most successful and powerful male in any group. When it comes to people, it says a strong and successful man who likes to be in charge of others. So I just wanted to read that real quick to give a little bit of a quote unquote textbook definition. But yeah, Dre and Ness kind of already.
Yeah, and so I guess my question is, when y'all hear that, making it a little bit more personal to you, when you hear that, what does it try to mean to you, and how do you see yourself in that thing, or if at all? Yeah.
I don't mind sparking it. Yeah. So it's a great question. I think today, right? And I'm going to start with today because as we know, and as we say here often, these terms have evolved, changed, morphed throughout the years. So I'm going to start with today. Today, I think alpha male is another label. And I have said here multiple times, I don't like that we use these labels. I think, and I said this before when we had the debate about the 5 love languages, I will reiterate. I think that we often put labels on ourselves and others in order to conform to society and categorize people as we see fit. I don't think that's wise, and I'm not a fan of it. More so when I hear people saying, yo, I'm an alpha male. Yo, I'm the alpha. What I really hear is, I want to be the guy in charge, but I'm full of shit. And that's my personal opinion. Maybe that's no disrespect to anybody here or anybody listening. Maybe somebody else here feels they're an alpha. I have no disrespect towards any of you. I mean no disrespect towards any of you. But very often when I hear people saying that and cats are walking in trying to roar like a lion, those are usually the cats that can't control the room. Those are usually the cats that are not leaders. Those are usually the cats who want to be quote unquote him, but are not. The people who are walking around saying, I'm him, I'm that nigga, I'm the man, they usually aren't. I think it goes back to something Day said right before we hit record, something we all know. The loudest guy in the room is usually what?
The weakest one.
The weakest one in the room. So the cat's walking in saying, yo, I'm the alpha. Niggas got to do what I say. And no, not really. Because a lion don't need to say I'm a lion.
We said you was ear hustling. Me and Dre was talking about that before.
Oh, I wasn't even in the room when y'all
That's
said
dope.
that, so
I love you for that. I said the same thing verbatim.
Yeah, a lion doesn't need to be called a lion, right? The king don't need to tell niggas, hey, I'm the king. Actually, it's usually the opposite. People are usually saying, oh, that's the leader. Oh, that's the king. Oh yeah, he's in control of this situation. Or she, because I also hear women saying alphas a lot as far as themselves. I have heard women say, I'm the alpha of the group. But that's another topic for another time. Just saying, I hear alpha being used a lot. And I think truly the alpha does not have to say, yo, I'm number one. I don't think that's what has to be said. I don't think anybody needs to come on and say, hey, I'm the A mic on Man Cave Monday. Maybe y'all were confused, but I'm the A mic on Man Cave Monday. Y'all don't know I'm the A mic. The rest of these niggas fall in line when I say, no one who's in that position needs to say that. The CEO of a company usually doesn't have to come out publicly and say, hey, I'm the CEO of Pepsi if you didn't know. But we just know that's the guy or girl or whatever. Like the person in charge, the top dog, the person who people are subservient to, submissive to, they usually don't have to say that. I'm done.
Well, going back to I just wanted to jump in because me and Dre was talking about this before you press record. What's known don't need to be said. What's known don't need to be said, brother. And it's funny because I'll just say my piece. When these conversations come up, I usually don't partake because I don't need to talk about something that's within me. You understand what I'm saying? Like I walk in that, I move in that, and I don't even want to say I walk in that. It may be a part of me because Ness gave a very detailed description about a Sigma, and then I think I'm a lone wolf. I march to the beat of my own drum. I'm not really concerned about the opinions of others because when I move and shake, you're gonna feel that shit. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And I don't know. Bro. I
yeah,
just really don't need to say anything. I'm secure with myself. You feel what I'm saying? And it'll show. You get what I'm saying? Like you
right.
said, when that lion is walking through the valley, the gazelles know who he is without him even doing anything. You know, the hippos know who he is without, and there's a respect factor there too. It's like, all right, we know what you're capable of. We know what you do. That's
Right.
why we move accordingly. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I don't really engage in these conversations. I don't even, like I said, both of you guys said something. I just think it's been hijacked. It's been hijacked. I think at times people use it for overcompensation, to really overcompensate for the insecurities that they're trying to hide. So that's why I don't. And most of the time, the person that's bringing up those conversations, what do you think he want to do? Control the
Right.
conversation. He want to be the dominant one. So once
Right.
I see that, I'm like, okay, I see what's going on here. You trying to execute your narrative. You trying to fulfill your own fulfillment. This conversation is more or less for you than it is for others. You just trying to seek out who's within the room so you could throw your weight around. And
Right.
that's just my theory of it. I move around a lot, so I see a lot of things. When it comes to these spaces. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got for it thus
All
far.
right.
I
Dex,
dig it.
Ness, what y'all feeling like?
Um, you guys said it all. I think alpha male, the label gives the connotation of you're a dick. That's why I think. That's how I'll start.
Dex coming in strong today.
Yeah,
You
I
know what I'm
love it.
saying?
That's how I.
Love it.
He said, I'm
That's
not
how I'll
playing with y'all.
start.
Y'all know why I'm here.
Right?
No, you're right
And
though.
yeah, and yeah, if you feel a certain way about yourself, you don't have to say anything.
correct.
Like we talk, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to say anything. I
Right.
also feel like if you think you're so special in that way, I hope you're also special if you have to be part of a team and you're not the leader. You have to play a role. You know what I mean? Because you gotta be nice in everything. You can't just say you can lead. You gotta be able to go. All right, I know what I could do, but Billy Joe is leading. I'm gonna back him up and do whatever he wants me to do on the side. I'm not going to be a jackass and try to hijack something. And anybody who's talking about their alpha male, you're instantly completely a dick to me. You know what I mean? And and that's my thought about it. And like I like to say, podcast friends, I agree with what everybody else said.
You see
Yeah.
what started
So
with
you
me.
brought it out so early. You brought it out so early.
I'm
I
starting
thought
right
that's
off
what
with
he was
that.
gonna start with. When he said y'all said it all, I thought the very next thing was gonna be,
You
you
brought
know.
it out too
So let
early.
me say something real quick. Let me give props to my co-host. When I was a teenager, Dre once said to me something. I mean, Dre said a lot I haven't forgot, but this specific topic, it applies. Dre said something to me I'll never forget. Dre said, the best leaders were once great followers. And that's it. I'm out on that note. Just want to
I
give my
did.
guy
I still
props.
say it.
I never forgot that. You know what I'm saying?
I still, I still
I
say it.
salute that. I salute
I
that.
still
And you
say
know what? Let me add.
I
Let me add one
modified
thing.
it a little bit. I modified it a little bit
All
because
right,
now,
let Dex finish.
yeah,
Let
yeah,
Dex
yeah,
finish,
yeah.
and then
And
you
then it'll
can
be
take
my
the
Well,
mic.
yeah, no doubt.
I'll just add. I'll add. Screw the whole alpha male label. Let's be good men. So be able to encourage people, learn. You're still learning. You never stop
Yes, sir.
learning
Yes,
in
sir.
life. You know what I mean? And I think, anybody who just considers themselves alpha male, they're lying to themselves. You're going to still learn something from somebody else. You might try to take it as your own if you're that type of dick. But, but, let's be good men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Encourage others. You know how to lead and learn. I think that's the thing. So anybody who says that, they're just, they're
They're
on
dicks.
levels of
No,
narcissism. Yeah, they're on level of narcissism.
Dex
Yeah.
ain't come
So,
to play today, boy.
Dex
hey
is not
man,
playing. Dex
shout out
came
to
out with a fastball right
shout
off
out to
rip.
Yo,
Cannon. Put the helmet on.
I
Shout out
mean,
to
right?
Cannon.
Exactly. Nigga said cannonball.
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Who did
yeah.
that? Ron Burgundy. Cannonball.
I
All right,
love it.
Yeah.
but go ahead, Dre.
Oh, I was gonna say, I modified it a little bit. It's like now it's like the best leaders are great followers.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? The best leaders are great followers. And the reason why I say it like that is because I think about, Captain whoever, Admiral whoever, General whoever. It's like you could be the general of the United States military, which is we know is the strongest military in the world. You still got to take leaders from a president. You still got to take orders from a president, and you got to know
That's right.
how to take orders from a president. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know how to be a good follower to execute things. You know what I mean? So
That's right.
Dex, you took a lot of stuff that I was gonna say, like, yeah, it's true. You know what I mean? I'll be
Right.
even more specific because it's like, yes, they are dicks, but I feel like people are using a lot of these terms just to sort of like uh try to go over the things that we used to say. Basically, it's like men have these pissing contests or men have these big dick contests. And that's what it really is what it's really saying. You basically walking around, and if you remember, like this, people used to do this shit all the time. I got a big dick, I got a big dick, I got a big dick. If you gotta constantly keep saying you got a big dick, there's some insecurities there.
That's
correct.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's some
Mm-hmm.
insecurities there. I'm like, I never say anything about the size of mine. I let
Right.
women talk about that. That's not
Right.
a topic that men should even be talking about amongst
That's
other
right.
men. Like what's going on, with you with that. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I definitely feel what you're saying is there's some insecurities when men say it.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing that I want to bring to the group is that what I also see is that women use it and it's a way of like controlling men, right? We used to say back in the days, someone putting a battery in your back, right? Which basically means they making you do, remember like the Duracell bunny and then motherfucker just keep going and going and going. It's like, oh
The
yeah, somebody,
Energizer Bunny.
but the Energizer Bunny, you're right, the Energizer Bunny, right? It's just like
Different company, but I got your back.
they put that battery in there and you just keep going, 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 going. And it's like, yeah, somebody put a battery in your back. And that basically means I say 1, 2, 3 to you and I can make you do whatever I want. And I feel like a lot of women have used that term by saying, oh, if you don't pay this bill, you're a beta. And if you don't take me to the mall, you're a beta. And if you're a real alpha, you would take care of all my bills or whatever the case might be. Whatever she wants you to do, a lot of women are using that term to for a lot of insecure men to make men do whatever the hell they want. It's the same thing like women used to do as far as calling somebody a real man. Oh, a real man does ABC and a real man does CXYZ and you got this dude trying to satisfy all these things that this woman is saying so he can have the badge of a real man. And now it's I want to have the badge of alpha male. So whatever you tell me to do, I'll just do. And I see a lot of that as well. And I wonder if that's something that y'all see it as well. And what's your take
Well,
on
I just wanted to. I know I wanted to touch on, like you said, brother. These terms are being hijacked. And I think that they're being used at the forefront of manipulation. I think
There we
in
go.
some way that they're manipulating these terms, I think to pervert them, right? They're trying to pervert them and turn something that's innocent or something that's authentic into a weapon for their own use. You understand what I'm saying? Like you said, oh well, he not doing what I want him to do. That's because he not an alpha. See, an alpha wouldn't even question it. He would just go ahead and, you know what I mean? Like, so some people fall victim to that. You know, they hijacking all the different terminologies because it's funny how when I hear alpha, I'm like, all right, so what about the whole masculine conversation? People are saying masculine and feminine, and are those things are along the same guidelines because they get weaponized in the same way?
Yes,
You
sir.
know, and I feel like all of those components coexist with each other. You know, alpha and masculine, and you know, they coexist with each other. Real quick though, I want to tell this story. I was at this event the other day. The brother man said to this brother man, right? He said, "Can I ask you something?" You know, when somebody say that, you just anticipating what he gonna ask him, right? So he said, "Yo, can I ask you something?" And the
Yeah.
brother was in like his real indigenous attire. He had the feathers. He was dope. He was official. He said, "What you believe in?" That shit threw me the loop. He said, "What you believe in?" The brother said, mad smooth. He said, "I believe in balance."
Mm.
And it was, yo, it just hit me. Like he said, "I believe in balance." He said, "That's what you believe?" He said, "That's what I believe across the board." He
Amen.
said, "Everything is about balance."
That's
Yes,
You
what I
sir.
understand
say.
what I'm saying? And I'm saying that because I'm saying they like, "Oh yeah, I'm an alpha." But it's like, bro, are you in alpha mode all the time?
Right.
You
Right.
feel me? Like,
Yes, sir.
is that, or well, somebody said something to me the other day too that posed the thought. Maybe they attach this to their personality so they can't let it go. Once you make it a part of your personality, you can't stray away from it now because you feel incomplete without exercising that component. Is that makes sense?
Yes, and in the words of Star
Ego
Wars,
death.
your focus determines your
Ego death.
reality.
Yeah, that's Nesta
Who
killed
said?
it.
Somebody said
Nesta.
ego death.
Yeah,
Nesta
Nesta.
yeah.
said it.
Break that down. That's
Yeah,
with the
Nesta, go ahead. Yeah,
terminology.
yeah, 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 yeah.
We got
Yeah,
It
sweat
it's
Nesta. Put
equity.
the cherry
All
on.
right,
Nesta, put the cherry on top. Nesta, put
explain.
put the cherry on top of that,
it's
Nesta.
basically
Yeah,
just
let's
that what
go,
you were
Ness.
saying. If they remove that part of it, they have it so ingrained in their personality. If it's something they remove from it, they just don't know who they are anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They just lose sense of self. And it's a whole crazy thing I learned from something else altogether. But looking it up, I ended up finding out that it's more than just from what I was studying it for, but it's just that. It's just in general
That's the term.
ego
Ego death.
death. Yeah,
Yeah,
basically just you
I like
lose a
that.
sense of self.
I like that
Yeah,
But
term.
it can
I like
happen
yeah.
various different ways.
That
And
makes
that's
sense.
one of the ways. If you have something that's such a part of your personality or made like a major part of your personality, you're it's difficult to remove it from that
That's what's
because
up.
it'll create that sense of loss of you not knowing who you are.
Mm.
Or if you
Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
learn
makes sense.
something that completely breaks what you know, and it's like you're basically you have to rediscover yourself in a sense
Mm.
because you
In
just
that
don't know.
moment, though, right? In that moment, you have to
Um,
discover yourself.
maybe. I mean, it could be
No,
a
it could be a process.
whole process after that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like it could completely break you or your sense of you.
but
Um, but
yeah,
yeah.
but
And
that's
that could apply to anything. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
necessarily the alpha male thing. That's what
Right,
Ness is
right.
saying. It's a
Anything
larger
in general,
thing
yeah.
because it could be running. Let's say someone identifies as a runner, but now they get in an accident, they no longer have legs. I I don't know who I am anymore. I can't
Yeah,
run.
it's tough.
yeah, yeah. No, it's that's what's up. When you Days said that word balance, that is the key right there. That's it
Yep.
right there for me. It's like if you don't understand this, that no man can be all things at all times. Never. And if you
Right.
feel like that, you're going straight down to the ground. You're going to burn and crash. You
Yep.
must have balance. Men have a X and a Y chromosome. Men have to be yin and yang. You know what
That's
I'm
right.
saying? You got to learn how to be soft and hard. You got to know how to, understand situations and be uh palatable basically to anything that comes your way. You can't
Need
be
water.
hard, right? You can't be hardcore all the time. You can't be soft all the time too. You got to know when to be when. That makes you a well-rounded human being, you know.
Facts.
And that's why you really guys kind of like know yourself. But yeah, having that balance and understanding what equilibrium is and searching that for yourself, that's the work that men have to do, and not allow themselves, as you were saying, to be manipulated, whether it's by some woman putting something in your ear or by some commercial or some song or, you know, whatever, you know. I see it a
Or a
lot.
YouTube video.
Or a YouTube video,
Because
whatever,
that's
you
where
know.
I hear it a lot. I can't speak for anybody else,
Podcasts.
but I
Yeah.
hear that alpha male shit all over all the red pill videos that go viral.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing, man. It's like, well, you got to have balance. You got to understand that, you got to be what you need to be in the moment. And that's the key, you know. But
Yes.
absolutely, man, like having balance is absolutely the key to all this. And
In all things.
in all things, right? Because with the ego death, that's the flyest thing ever.
That's
Because
real right there.
you know who's going through that right now? I just listened to Arnold Schwarzenegger on Howard Stern podcast or Howard Stern show, whatever. And he was saying how he's going through this because he's now in his 70s, about to be in his 80s. And he looks at his body and he's like, this is a piece of shit, right? Because when he was in his 20s, 30s, 40s, he had the body that everybody wanted. You can't go into a gym right now and not see an Arnold poster. People are still working out to look like Arnold. But now when Arnold looks at Arnold, he's like, fuck. Because of what Nesta just said, it's like you've attached who you are to your body. Right. But if you had balance, you would understand you can't be the same dude you was when you were 20 years old.
No.
Balance shows you, nah, man. Like, look at all your success, you know, movies, governor, all kind of fly shit. And you want to still look the same way you looked at 20, 30 years old. You don't have that balance yet. And that's why he's going through like depression, because it's like, I can't stand the way I look. I hate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Nest, you didn't get to talk much, brother. You got any thoughts? I know you read us the fly definition. You gave us ego death, but you know, what are your thoughts on alpha males?
Well,
are you an alpha male? None of us answered that part, by the way, but I guess because none of us respect alpha males. So I guess that means we all feel we are not alpha males.
Tiptoed past that part, right?
Yeah,
right.
We all did, right? None of us answered. I realized that as I'm asking Nesta, I'm like, not one of us said.
But you answered it by not answering it.
That's it. That's how you listen. That's how you dance, baby. You got to dance around it. But go ahead, Ness.
I think it's stupid. It's like when I explained from the beginning, like just the idea of how it started, and then it's like, oh, so it's based off something that's completely fake and untrue anyway. Right. So it doesn't matter. And then from there, it's just like, honestly, what it is, it's horoscopes for men. Like that's what that is. It's that same thing. It's just attaching personality traits.
That might be the title episode. Horoscopes for men.
Yes, I love that.
It's gonna be that or ego death. We're gonna see how this pod keep going.
Let's drop the bombs right now. I don't even know what to say.
For men?
Let's drop the bombs.
Ness, you got to put that on your shirt. You know what I'm saying? Horoscopes for men.
And then have the categories: alpha, beta, sigma,
all that. You know what I'm saying? COVID, oops,
echelon, whatever the fuck is going on. I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's just this thing that's just started off wrong in the first place and just got further wrong. It's just a bunch of random traits that they assigned to specific categories, and it's like, you can only be like this, and this means you're this way. You can only be like this, and that means you're like that. And
yeah, because like, Nestor, don't you know that only Capricorns care about money this much? You didn't know that? Didn't you know that only Sagittarius women like sucking dick? You didn't know that, Nestor?
And Nestor, you're being a real Scorpio right now.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't.
Scorpionic.
You know what I'm
Very
saying?
scorpionic.
I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're giving me a lot of big Leo energy right now.
Nah, I see Cancer in his moon. I see
Right,
Cancer in his moon.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Your
yeah,
rising is Virgo.
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
Your
yeah.
mean?
rising
You
is
got a
Virgo.
lot of give me a lot of Leo
Fucking
energy.
ridiculous.
Love it. Exactly.
Woo!
That's the
Nah,
finish
I
up though.
mean,
Yeah, sorry. We
beyond that,
completely
it's
hijacking
it's
Nestor
cool
shit.
because
You dropping too many things.
I don't
We
have
can't just sit back and listen. You saying too much fly shit. But go ahead.
Too much fly shit. Stop it, Nestor.
I
Lot
don't
of
have much to
quotables.
say beyond like because once I gave the definition, that was like the most of what I was gonna
Okay.
talk about because
Fair.
it's based off of a fake thing. It's just it's all a mess, and then now it's just this. It's hinged on like Jay mentioned, like the red pill podcasters and all that. Like that corner of the internet is just obsessed with it, and
Great choice of word.
and it's too much because it just it was wrong in the first place, and it just got wronger. Like
Yeah, because it's this group of men who want to say we are the leaders, we are the shit. People need to emulate the lifestyle we're living. But as we've seen with Fresh and Fit and others, they don't even really emulate that lifestyle. It's all a facade. So you're trying to preach to people, be like me, be great. But really, you're not even most of the shit you're saying. Like, y'all are paying women to sleep with you. Women can't come on your podcast if they don't have some kind of sexual ties to you. It's just like all this weirdo shit
Yeah.
that really, according to your chart of alpha, beta, sigma, you'd probably be one of those other things that's not a alpha according to your
Beta.
list of definitions. Yeah,
They not
like
Sigma. They
yeah,
not Sigma.
it's weird. It's all weird and unnecessary.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, Ness.
Yep.
And I'll
Sound more
throw one
echelon to me.
word, and I'll throw one thing in there. When I hear about dudes doing stuff like that, who hurt you, man? Who hurt you?
That's
Right.
true. It's
Yeah,
true.
who hurt you,
Yeah.
man? Like
Right.
this is like
Yeah.
your villain story, your villain origin story. Like, who hurt you?
Right.
You
For
know,
real,
No, it's
but
true.
for a lot of them, it's that. For a lot of them, it's the same thing. Like when we talked about pearly things. Like it's just they realized this gets clicks, this gets attention.
Yeah.
True.
well, that's what
Yeah.
That's
it
a lot of it
is.
sometimes too,
That's
and they
that's
just
really
Yeah.
what
keep
it
pushing
is.
with that
Yeah.
until it blows
Yeah.
up in their face sometimes.
Yeah, because when you
Yeah.
tie yourself to a movement, your hope is that, oh, I now become one of the leaders in this field. I become one of the sought after people in
Voices.
this field. So if you're the head of the funny hat movement, oh, anytime we mention funny hats, we know Nestor got to be mentioned.
Yeah. 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 Let me just say this because I know we're about to move on to the next thing. Is that
Yeah, go ahead.
to all these brothers that's on this podcast and to any cat that I hang out with, it's like, Days kind of touched on it. That Sigma, those are only cats that I even want to hang out with. You know what I'm saying? Those are only cats that I would be like, yo, we could be friends or whatever. Like, I like dudes to do whatever it is that they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be around the type of men that walk their own beat because that's the kind of dude I am anyway. And it's like, I can learn so much more from someone as far as I'm concerned, like guys like you guys, like as you know, we all know each other. It's like I hang out with any one of y'all anytime because that's the way I see y'all. You know what I mean? Like, hey, the things that you're interested in, you're interested in. Things that you like. And it's like that to me is what makes you dope. Not that, you have to do this or you have to do that. That to me is a man that's programmed, and it's going to be a very shallow kind of relationship. But relationships that go really deep, that's the people that I really feel like I can learn from and have a good time with, are the type of men who run by their own beat, do what they like to do in spite of whatever the crowd is saying, whether it's popular or not popular. They just be who they are. And I just want to tell all of y'all cats right here listening and everybody that y'all see on your screen, these are real dudes. And
So
I'm
to
proud
get
to
a
be.
bit
Go ahead.
to get a bit more specific on the Sigma thing, it's kind of it's kind of the antithesis to simps. But it's kind of the way it's set up, or at least the way I've witnessed it. It's there when we have like you have like incels, right? Involuntary celibates. They're usually branched into those two sections of either being a simp or being a sigma. They're either just like super about like getting a woman's attention, doing things for women, this and that, or they are completely just not real, well, yeah, probably like sometimes anti-women or anti any of that, and just focused on, yes, it'll be alpha tidbits like get this money, do this, blah blah blah, but um it's still a very like toxic situation, because it's still instead of being a completely like, oh, I'm giving all of my money to this random woman on the internet that I don't know and gives me no attention, it's I don't care that they exist at all.
Got it.
Yeah.
Ness is
All
all
right.
fake, Ness.
No, that's
And
what's
yeah,
All
up
fake.
though.
it's
All
it's just
theory.
it's
That's
this whole
what's up
thing.
It's
though.
all
Yeah.
And
theory.
so
Yeah.
it's just so it's so weird, even with that, like
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
they're
The,
all tied in together in different weird
yeah.
ways.
The labels make things difficult, but my whole point
Right.
was like
Yeah.
cats that do their own thing. You know what I mean? And if you are that type of cat that's like, yo, I don't really care what women think or whatever. It's like even better. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you, whatever that you is, be yourself, and don't look for a vote or if it's popular, if it's in. Really
Gratification.
take the time to figure out who you are. Obviously, be open for change, and to say, okay, I used to think this way, now I think that way. But for someone to have to basically do the things that are popular, or I'm not going to do that because that makes me a this or that. I don't know. I just feel like you're a corny dude, and I don't really like to hang out with those type of people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of different situations that I've seen coming up. I'll give some examples where people are kind of drawing a line in the sand, whether they realize it or not, between money and brand. One example is Cat Williams. Cat Williams went viral, but Cat Williams drew a line in the sand and said, hey, I don't care about being the number one person in Hollywood. I would rather protect myself and my brand. He may not have used those words specifically, but that's what he was saying. And he was saying, if you look at my brand, it's still doing well and flourishing. I've done these tours, I've done these things, and it's allowed me to put other people in powerful positions. Another example of that is the next viral episode of Club Shay Shay, which was Monique. Monique made very specific decisions, she said, about not doing press because it was not in her contract. And that, along with Tyler Perry and Oprah doing her dirty, have tarnished her brand in the eyes of the public. One last example just happened very recently, for when we're recording this anyway. Chris Brown was invited to the All-Star game, the Celebrity All-Star game. We spoke about this on weeknights. And Chris Brown, after being invited, the NBA reneged and said, sorry, but our sponsors don't want you here because of your past history. Again, I'm summarizing, not the exact words.
Sponsor.
Right. Well, then it was also reneged because Ruffles came forward and said,
Ruffles
we didn't
was
say
like,
that. We don't know
yeah,
anything
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
We don't
found
like your
out about that
I
at the
think
ridges.
it's
same
Your
time.
bullshit.
ridges is not right.
Right. Your ridges is
Ridges
fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Your Ruffles ain't ruffling. So
the ridges ain't right. The ridges ain't.
So so this is the question I want to ask you guys. What do you value more? Money or brand? And I just want to say one more thing before you guys answer. There's a difference, and here's why. Everyone is quote unquote chasing the bag. Anyone who has a brand is chasing money. Yes, we know that. But there are certain decisions where you have to decide, do I prefer to have the money, or do I care more about my brand's representation, my brand identity, and the way it's seen in the public eye?
So, for me personally, brand. I, as much as I understand, like like I've said this before, that I understand the importance of money, I understand the importance of capital, but it means absolutely shit to me. Like, it really, I don't care that much about it. It's just I understand its value.
Right.
So yes, my brand is probably where I would put that. What I'd prefer to focus on is who I am, how I'm seen, and all of that. It can be to an extreme extent sometimes, because it can affect like how I present myself. It can affect how I act sometimes, and anything like that. But in general, that's what I'm usually going to put weight over. Is if it comes to a choice like that, usually it'll be brand over money.
Okay.
And extending on that, beyond that, I'm sure that there's lots of people who have to make those decisions. And sometimes money is the right answer. I mean, it may not be something that will completely align with what you want or how you want to be seen, but that's also because of, and this is a more complicated discussion, I guess, and that would be like no ethical choices in capitalism or whatever. It's a thing, but at the same time, there's you can make those choices in certain situations. Sometimes you can't, and sometimes you're going to be asked whatever you decide, and it's just not going to work for you. But there are instances where you can make that decision either or. And then sometimes, hey, sometimes the thing that's best for your brand will be what brings in the money. And best example of something like that would be like Mr. Beast. Like, his brand is doing good for people, and then that brings him more money to do more good for people.
Right.
It brings him a ton of bad press sometimes, because people like tend to skew what he's doing or anything like that, or make it seem like he's just doing it for the money.
Right.
But it's like, he kind of like, it's this weird, he's doing it for the good, but he knows that what he's doing is going to get him more views, get him more clicks, and that's going to bring him more money to do more good. And
Gotcha.
it's this whole thing sometimes.
Okay.
Brand being identity, right? That's what we're saying. Like brand, no ownership. That's the word I wanted to say.
Well,
Brand
For
being
me
like,
personally, I equated it to identity, like as me. But there are a lot of people that it's either that or it's brand, as in product,
who they are associated with.
actual, any different thing. I'm sure it can attach to different things, but
Because right,
usually
I say that because when I think about it, right, I feel like if you value the brand, the money is going to be abundant.
sometimes.
You that's how I look at it.
well, that's
That's how I look
okay.
at it.
Let me answer your question, and
Or
then
yeah,
maybe that'll help you answer better. Today, many people say a person is a brand, but in every case, that is not true. Chipotle is not a person, but Chipotle is seen in the eyes of the public as a very specific brand. The way they post on social media, the things they do in the community, etc. All of that is reflective of brand, not of the CEO, not of the owner, none of that. So if you go to 5 Chipotle stores and there's stuff all over the floor, you think in your mind, wow, the brand of Chipotle does not care about cleanliness because there's garbage all over the floor. Another example would be McDonald's. If you ever saw the movie The Founder, there's a lot of arguments in that movie about brand because Ray Kroc, who at that time was not the owner of McDonald's in the movie until the very end, he was reporting back to the originators of McDonald's, two brothers. And he kept saying, hey, we're trying to do a lot of stuff to get the ball rolling and get this money. And they were saying, yeah, but some of the things you're doing, like using fake milkshakes, we do not agree with the alignment of our brand. We don't want fake milkshakes to be associated with our brand. Now, that was in the 50s. Today, a lot of people say Nicki Minaj is a brand, Cardi B is a brand, Dex is a brand, Days is a brand. Sometimes that's true, sometimes that's not. There's a lot of different variables. So sometimes, yes, a brand is Nestor the person is a brand, but sometimes it's not, right? So it depends on how things are structured for the personal side and the business side. Sometimes people are a personal brand, which is what that's called today. Like Gary Vee owns several companies. And then after this, I'll shut up. Gary Vee owns several companies. Each of those companies are a brand and have brand identity. But on the flip side of that, Gary Vee is looked at today as a brand. He is a huge person, a huge personality. He himself is sought after to do many things that have absolutely zero to do with his company. And those things often affect his companies. So people would say, Gary Vee, I want you to do advertising. He would say, I do not do advertising. But VaynerMedia does plenty of advertising. They say, "Oh, we want to sign a contract with VaynerMedia." I'm done.
Well, I'm saying I'm a brand, son, so I got to answer it how I. And usually when
Okay.
people
I
go,
just I just
me
wanted to answer your
personally,
question. I wasn't trying to say you were or were not.
no,
Your
I
question
wasn't
was,
even
is brand
responding to.
personal? Oh,
I
okay,
was,
okay, okay.
yeah, I was answering the question. I wasn't even responding to that.
All right, cool.
No, it's just Ness. He was like, me personally, when people start with that, I tend to separate myself now because you're giving it from a personal. It's anecdotal at that point, right? Um, but of course I'm a brand. I'm saying I know the example that you gave was perfect. It was great. But if I had to answer this, I would have to answer it from that space, right? Because that's the way I operate.
Right.
So
Days the Emperor is a brand.
yeah, it not only is Days the Emperor a brand, whatever I touch turns into gold. And that's not out of arrogance, that's just out of ideal. That's the objective. The objective is to help everything within my circumference grow. Whatever I attach myself to, the objective is for it to progress and get better. Or it's not good for my brand, quote unquote. Right? So
Yes.
I would say that I would choose brand because brand is going to keep the cash flow. At least that's the way I see it because that's the objective. That money could be momentary. It could be some momentary cheddar, but cheddar melts. You dig? So with that being said, you got to choose your integrity over your finance. You got to choose your integrity over your paycheck, given the circumstances of what's at stake at the time, right? And that money that you may value more than your brand, it could tarnish your brand. Yeah, you may benefit, in that moment, but in the long run, what does that do to your brand? Somebody could say, "Hey, I'll give you 200,000 if you give me a percentage of your brand." But what if that person doesn't move with integrity? What does that do to your brand? And like you
Right.
said, Jay, once someone's associated or once your brand is looked at in a certain light or associated with something, whatever's outside of that, people are like, "Yo, that brand is moving crazy. Like,
Right.
what are they doing out here? Like, are they not aware of this? Are they not,
Right.
they might not see the person itself, but some way, somehow, it's going to get back to who's the face behind the brand or who's the name behind the brand. Because at the end of the day, if there's some scrutiny, you definitely want to correct that or you definitely want to see about that to see what it's about. But I would have to go with the brand. Like I said, I think the brand has longevity. The brand has much more longevity. So I'm gonna have to go with Brandon.
Uh, Perfectly said to me. Remy Fitness is a brand, and Dexter Remy is a brand. The
Mm.
music is a brand. I could say wholeheartedly, I draw all my energy from JD and Days and their work ethic. I've watched them. I try to take that energy when I'm not procrastinating. I try to take that energy and put it into what I do.
Doing an
You know,
amazing job, brother.
you know what
I
I'm saying?
see you.
I wholeheartedly. Thank you. I wholeheartedly
Doing an
watch
amazing
Days
job.
and JD, and when I'm not procrastinating, I'm taking their energy. I try to put it into what I'm doing. Like I said, without blinking, Days, without blinking. I totally agree with what Days just said. if you stand on your integrity and keep your character and your values, and you really work hard and make yourself valuable. I'm talking more my fitness stuff. Make yourself valuable to others that you're important to them in their life. And I believe it's the same thing with the music. If you do both, I believe money you will have the financial response that you want. I believe that. Um, scripture, people always say money is the root of all evil. That's not what scripture says. Scripture says the love of money is the root of all evil. Money ain't
Mm,
bad, but the love of, that's what the Bible says. It doesn't say money is the root, the love of it. So if you hooked on that, you're not going to go far. They said it all. And sometimes that money you get is not from a good source, and it will screw up your brand. So that's all I'm going to add. I'm just going to add that.
Okay.
Dex, you're doing an amazing job. I see the likes. I see the
I said,
reposts. I see the.
I,
I'm
I'm
sorry, I never
trying,
got
man.
to tell him, but I told Jay.
I just, yeah, listen,
The,
I take the energy from what I see you guys do, he who pods and you, and I just try to put it into what I do. That's it. I
He
just said,
who pop.
take that energy and try to do the same thing in my world.
yeah, I love the
Like, just,
fact that he said it.
and that's the great thing about all of us. Like Dre, like what you said, we all just doing our own thing, but we can learn from each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what I love. So yeah, good. I'm glad. We saying that, put it on the pod, make sure everybody know. I just take that energy, feed it into my thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you, Dex. And
Yeah.
yes, you're doing your thing.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Go ahead, Dre. I
Yeah.
see you.
So for me, once again, I agree with pretty much all y'all said. And when I hear that, I'm like, well, number one, I don't have much money. And in terms of a brand, I do understand what that means, but for me, it goes a little bit deeper because I don't feel like I have much of a brand. But what I do have is my reputation. You know what I'm saying? And in the immortal words of Tony Montana, the only thing I have in this life is my word and my balls. And
There
I
you
ain't
go.
breaking them for nobody. You know what I'm saying? I don't have much. I don't have much. I don't have a lot of money, and maybe I don't have a lot of followers and all that stuff either. But I do have my word and I have my reputation, and that has always been the thing that guides me. You know what I mean? Now, hey, if somebody come to me, with a lot of money, who knows what I'm going to say? But I've had, to be honest, I've had people offer me things that my principles won't allow me to accept. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, my reputation means a lot and my principles mean even more. So if something goes against what I believe in, I don't really care how much money it is. If it's not aligned with my principles and the way I see things, I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to engage in it. It's not my thing. So for me, yeah, my reputation, of course, yeah, I have a brand like the rest of you guys have brands too, but I look at it as more as like, my reputation and what I stand for. There's certain things I'm not going to just do, certain things I'm not going to be around because I look at my reputation. I look at that title of sensei like someone look at the title of minister or priest. You know what I mean? It's not just I'm just some regular teacher walking around. Like, people have a lot of respect for me, and I open up people's, especially kids' minds on particular things. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I understand that, and I wear that, and I'm proud of that. And so I walk a particular way, and I do particular things so that that's so people understand what I stand for. You know what I mean? And therefore, if you know what I stand for, you know what I'm not going to stand for. And that's pretty much how I run my life. And like I said, I've had people offer me particular things to do particular things. I'm like, nah, like, you must don't really know me, because if you knew me, you wouldn't even ask me no shit like that.
Right.
So for me, that's the way I roll. That's the way I get down. It's about my principles first, and everything else comes like second or third, whatever.
Yeah, I concur. I second that.
Yeah.
Okay, let me answer.
Look, let me
Oh, go
just jump
ahead,
in and
Dex.
say
Go, go, go.
one really quick. Just listening to Dre. It's a fascinating thing when God makes you a parent. But the other thing is when he puts you in a position where you are affecting how somebody's going to live in the future outside of your family members. You know what I mean? Like a sensei or just anything where you're trying to make somebody better in their life. It's a fascinating position to be in. And we never should take that for granted. Personal training, sensei, working in schools, and whatever the case you've done in your history, it's a fascinating place to be,
Yeah,
and we should never take that for granted,
I agree.
and that we're standing as examples to others, but definitely as a parent, that's a fact. But
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just want to
No, no,
interject with that.
but that's exactly my point, Dex. Is like, on our podcast, Food Fitness and Fun, I open it up and I say, oh yeah, I'm the sensei of a bunch of things, right? That's really what I'm trying to say. It's a little bit funny just to kind of make it entertaining, but it's exactly what I'm saying is that whether you're talking about somebody who's fitness, somebody who's teaching someone else music, somebody who's coming into someone's life to say, hey, I have this thing and I'm going to help you and guide you with the thing that I know. That
Mm,
is a wonderful place to be in. And then when you have that place, we both know, I think all of us here know, a lot of people abuse that, right?
Mhm.
That's why we have a whole
Absolutely.
Catholic church with all these cats that had this position and took that thing and completely
right,
abused it. So I
right,
Absolutely.
com- I completely agree with you. When you have this position in people's lives, it comes
yeah,
with a lot of responsibility. And
hmm
therefore the things that you say and do and the things you stand for um really have a lot of weight, not just to you but to the people around you, and you should act
absolutely.
accordingly, and that's pretty much what I'm saying. So I agree with you, Dex. Like,
Mm,
yes,
I hear that.
it's not just
Cheers to that.
karate or this or that, it's whatever that thing is. I
Yeah,
don't
right,
care
right.
if you're tutoring them in math, it's the
Yeah,
same thing,
the same thing,
yeah,
same exact thing.
yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, let me go in a little bit. Um, I think those are all good examples. I'm gonna answer and pose a new question. So because we're all on the same page, right? It seems like we all chose brand and not money. Yeah, I too believe that when you build a brand, a couple things come with it. Brand identity, how people see your brand. Like they said, the things you're associated with, right? So people tie, let's just say Goshen Kai Academy, which is Dre's martial arts company. That is tied to what? Teaching kids. Why? Because what do we see every time we see Goshen Kai Academy? Either Dre teaching children or children doing what Dre has taught them. So we see, okay, yeah, Goshen Kai is tied to teaching. And now, if you really know Goshen Kai, you know teaching in schools. So when I think Goshen Kai Academy, I think, oh, teaching in schools, right? Teaching kids in schools specifically. So that is absolutely correct. Those things, I totally agree. And I think what happens is there are times when people chase the money and sacrifice the brand.
Mhm.
Because I don't care if I got to put on a dress. I don't care if I got to run around naked. I don't care if I got to kill my best friend. I want the money. But they don't think of how that affects the brand moving forward, right? In the Monique example, she said, I don't do anything that I don't get paid for. And yes, she still got the Oscar. But like I said on weeknights, I forgot Monique even won an Oscar. Because since winning the Oscar, she hasn't done any of the things an Oscar winner does. Why? Because Oprah and Tyler Perry looked at that and said, hold on, we told you we trying to help you win the Oscar. This movie has now blown up on an international level. You won't do some international press for free? And she said, no, I don't do things I don't get paid for. Well, that affected her brand in a huge way. Oprah and Tyler Perry have done foul shit. I do not agree with what they did, but I'm just saying the cause and the effect, the consequences, it has affected her brand on a large level. Chris Brown also did the same thing. Chris Brown has not also did the same thing, has a similar circumstance where his public actions with Rihanna and other women and his
17 years ago.
resistance. Well, some of the things were not 17 years ago. Karuchi was not 17 years ago. In fact, that what's it called? When you can't be around somebody, uh, uh,
Restraining?
thank you.
Restraining order?
That restraining order actually just ended very recently. So that's not a long time ago. But
Just know I'm privy in this conversation, but I'm gonna let you cook.
I'm just talking about what he has done publicly and is being seen publicly. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I agree with what the NBA did. In fact, I just recorded on weeknight saying the NBA is foul. So I'm not co-signing. I'm just again speaking about what happened and what's happening now. Chris Brown's actions have put his brand in a very precarious situation, and that has affected him. That had nothing to do with the Monique situation of I'm chasing money. Very different circumstance, but now this is affecting his brand's identity and reputation. Is this guy has bad behavior? This guy is possibly abusive towards women. That has affected both the money and the brand. So my question which leads me to my quick question. My question is, we all said brand. My question is, what if it's a Monique or Chris Brown situation? Do you still think the brand is what should be upheld in those examples where the money does you got the money or you got the thing you were looking for, but your brand has been damaged? Do you still think brand matters more in that circumstance? Would you still have done so? For example, let me be specific. Would you have done the free press if you're Monique? Would
Yes,
you have? You said yes.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
I
I'm
respect
looking
her
at the bigger
stance.
picture. I'm
And,
looking
you know,
at the bigger picture.
yeah, and I
Hold
respect her
on, Dex.
stance. Don't get me
Let
wrong.
Days finish.
Go
Let
ahead.
Days finish. Go ahead, Days.
No, I said I'm looking at the bigger picture. Let's use the Super Bowl for example. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, of course.
How they said no one gets paid, but once I saw the breakdown of it and I seen the turnaround, because somebody said it right, and the way this brother broke it down was so perfectly said. He said, people pay millions and billions of dollars for a 30-second commercial. Brother, you got a 15-minute commercial for
Right.
free.
Right.
For free, brother. Some people are paying millions of dollars for this advertisement, hoping somebody buy a bag of chips.
$7 million.
Hoping somebody drink a Gatorade. They're
7 million.
praying.
Right.
But this brother has 20, 30 years of influence. I don't doubt that people are not going to be running it up after he hit that stage. I don't
And
doubt
that was
that
a great
people are.
example because thanks to that Super Bowl performance, he is now the number one male recording artist as far as record sales ever.
Come on, brother.
I'm
Talk
just
about
in the words of Dex, I'm just adding to what you said.
it. No,
Yeah, Usher Confession album is now the most sold album ever in male solo history.
wow.
14 times platinum. It was
Wow.
already above 10. I don't know the exact number it was at. It already went diamond 10 million years ago. But today it is currently above 14 million sold thanks to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
So forget
People
Mike,
gotta,
forget Drake, all of those guys.
you
Usher is now number one.
people gotta understand this, right? Like, shout out to Monique. I'm not speaking bad about her, but that international press could have catapulted her to a whole nother level. I was just watching a video of a brother man listening to Dear Mama for the first time. He was like 65 years old, 70 years old. His first time ever listening to Dear Mama, Tupac. I'm somewhere
I'll edit it.
working out. I have a Tupac shirt on. The guy's from the Philippines and he's going crazy. Tupac. Oh, you know what he starts singing? A Tupac song. A Tupac song that's how old? 20 years ago.
Right.
20 years old. But he
Not
knows
more
it
than
word
that.
for
30
word now.
years old.
I heard that song when it first came out. I've been listening to that shit my whole life.
Right.
But the fact that he is still resonates with him, he's still impacted. Mind you, Tupac hasn't had a press run in years. You feel what I'm saying? He's not even around to do a press run. I'm just saying influence is important. Sometimes influence is monetary gain. It is the currency. You understand what I'm saying? It is the value. So yes, I would have done it. We do it now. You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We do it now. And I'm not saying the opportunities is not there. I'm not going to discuss my business, but you feel what I'm saying? It's flowing. It's flowing. I would have took either route. I would have took the route that she took, and in the Chris Brown situation, people just don't know how to let go. You know, they just don't know how to let go, unfortunately. And now that's a subject for another day because I can
Yeah,
expound any
Yes,
day
it
of the
is.
week.
Let
Expound.
me
yeah.
let me offer another
Well,
perspective.
hold on,
Oh,
because Dex wanted to
oh,
go.
go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Dex. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just going to add up to what Dave said. I'm not mad at what she did at all. But me, I'm using every resource I can to go and just promote my performance in something and see what happens. That's what I would have done. I mean, but I'm not mad if she's still there, stand on that. And I don't be like, I don't know what the big deal was. I'm like, all right, cut her a check so we could get out there. You know what I mean? Let's just do that. You know, they got the money to do it. But that's neither here nor there right now. That's a topic for another day.
But
I'm
the
sorry.
check
Go
could have
ahead.
came when she was moving and shaking. You don't
True. See,
know.
that's my
The
point.
check could have came
That's
while
what I'm
she was
saying.
moving and shaking.
Yeah, I would have went. I was like, yo, I would have went. Where we going, Paris? Let's go. You know,
You know how
I'm
many
gonna
people
go.
probably saw that? Because some people see her response as abrasive. You know how many people
Yes,
probably saw that and was like, "Oh well, I'm not even giving it a thought."
right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
exactly what happened.
yeah,
You
yeah.
feel me? Like, you know what? I was gonna consider, but now I reconsider.
And see, and the weakness was Tyler Perry's sucker move. When he started talking shit about, you should have never said anything. Just all right, you do you.
Yeah, they
Good,
were foul.
great. Yeah.
Oprah
That
and
was some
Tyler Perry
sucker
were foul.
shit.
No doubt about
That
that.
was absolute sucker shit from both of them. Let her do her
Yeah.
thing. All right, we don't have to work with her again. Let her go. Went around that sucker shit. But anyway, we know
But
that sucker shit.
unfortunately, that is a big component in Hollywood
That is
relationships.
true. That is
Go
true.
ahead, Dre.
Oh, so I was gonna say, let me offer a different perspective.
All right,
So
but please don't forget to answer the question, though.
I,
I want to know what you have done the press front.
all right, I'm going to. So, but I'm going to
Okay, my
answer it
bad. I'm
this
sorry.
way. So it's like
Okay, okay.
I've had some experiences that are kind of sort of like that, right? Where it's like someone says to me, "Yo, Dre, you know, can you teach at this place?" Right? And I'm like, okay, it's a pretty well known place, and it'll give Goshen Kai Academy a little bit more light. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I can go out, I can go up there for the day and teach just to let y'all know what I do, just to let the kids know what I do. I'll do a 1 day, nobody pay nothing, don't even worry about it. That's cool. But then at the same time, I got to look out for wolves because some people be like, yeah, can you teach the entire year for free because it's going to help blow you up? I can't
Mhm.
afford to do
Yeah.
that. I got
Right.
bills to pay. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, can I do a promotional one-time demonstration? Come to your school and I'll take the day. I'll teach 3 or 4 different classes for the day. Yeah. And then y'all can think about whether y'all want to pay my fees. But I also know that you got to look out for people who try to manipulate you and have you work for free. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that's all I'm saying is I'm
Mhm.
offering a different perspective. So as far as your question,
Mhm.
Jay, on some like, oh yeah, Drake, are you going to take some promotion to promote whatever it is? Oh yeah, come on, let's go out there, let's promote it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can have the best invention, but it don't mean nothing if it's in your garage. People got to know that this thing exists. So yeah, let's go out there and let them know. This is the flyest shit. This is the hottest shit. This is banging. I'm all for that. But I've been doing this kind of stuff for a while, and I see that some people will be like, yeah, do this thing for me. This is going to blow you up, but I'm not going to pay you. You're going to get your money from some other end. And try to get a lot of my time and my services, and it's like I don't get down like that. I'm not gonna work for free hoping that this turns to something else later on. Nah. So that's the only perspective I'm saying is that just got to look out for cats like that because
I wanted to
yeah,
add to my point real quick because I was answering it right and
yeah.
just touch on the Monique situation. I was responding from the perspective of a person being financially sound. You know what I mean? That is a great point, Dre. But looking from her situation, she had, a long career in doing this. So I would assume that you got some type of paper where you could manage while you on, you know what I mean? While you moving and
But
shaking.
look at but Days, look at what Taji P said, right? About her doing movies right now. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm 20 years in the game, I got all these different accolades, all these different Oscars and shit like that, and y'all still paying me like I just started. You know what I'm saying? It's like people will take advantage of you if you don't say this is what my worth is. And I think that's what Monique was saying in that interview too. It's like, yo, I'm supposed to be here right now. That was the beef she had with Netflix. It was like, you want me to do something and you're telling me I'm here. I got to advocate for myself. You see what I'm saying? And all I'm saying is that I understand that perspective as well. Is that if you don't advocate for you, people will tell you what you're worth. They'll be like, "Oh no, you only worth $7 an hour." And I'm telling you, like I've been there. Like I've been in conversations with people where they've told me, a person that's been in youth development for 30 years, teaching martial arts for 35, and they told me, "Yeah, we're gonna give you like $10 an hour," and I'm like, "Who?" You know what I mean? Like, like I've been doing this for a really long time. I'm only in your office because you saw the work that I did. Like I walk into schools and I'm just like, yeah, all those bad kids, the one that's in detention, I'll take all of them. No, give me all of them. Yeah, the one that all the numbers and all the letters, they got ADD, they got AB. Yeah, I'll take all of them. I'll take all the badass kids. I'll take them. And then within 3 months, it's like, wow, you see such a difference. Okay, so you got to pay for that, right? If nobody in your school can make those kids do what I'm having them do, why do you think I'm going to do that for free or for $10 an hour? That's my expertise. That's my shit. That's what I can do. And you're telling me, well, I'm only going to give you, the minimum wage to do that. Then we're not. We it's all good. You don't want me. You want somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
That
Yeah,
part.
real quick, and then Ness, you could go to wrap it up. I just want to address the Monique situation specifically is hard for a couple reasons, right? Number one, yes, Monique chose the money and surviving, quote unquote, over brand, right? I think one, it was short-sighted. She was not thinking about the bigger picture. Yes, Dre, she needed money to survive, sure. But a couple of weeks of free work would have changed her life. And here is why. Again, I know I said it 3 times. I'm getting my Dr. Umar on. Again.
She put up that index finger. No.
Again. Again. Good shit, Dex. Again, Oprah and Tyler Perry did her dirty. I'm not excusing any of that. But let's just put our thinking caps on, right? Who is Oprah in Hollywood? It's rhetorical. We all know the answer. At that time, who is Tyler Perry in Hollywood? He's a rising star. He's about to be the next Oprah. And now let's get even deeper. That's Oprah's homie. That's Oprah's homie. Both of those people have reached out to you through other sources. And then after that, Tyler Perry reached out to you in person. And you're going to tell these two behemoths in the Hollywood stratosphere, no, I'm not doing it unless you pay me. You are short-sighted. You're not thinking about, and her words were, Tyler Perry said to her in person, yo, listen to me. I don't think you're getting it. If you do this free press run and get this Oscar, the money you're getting paid is nothing. You're going to be getting 8, 10, 50 million. Who knows? You could write your own ticket once you win the Oscar. At that point, she said, her words, not mine. I told Tyler Perry to his face, I'm not in the business of working for free. Fam, you're bugging. You're not valuing your brand or relationships in that moment. You so worried about this dollar sign that you're not thinking. Now, let me flip it real quick to Chris Brown. I'm not saying Chris Brown is guilty of everything he's been accused of. I don't think that. But I don't know if Chris Brown is thinking about brand when he's doing some of these things.
Mhm.
And that's why I used him as an example. Again, NBA did Chris Brown dirty. They reneged, and as far as I'm concerned, if I was Chris Brown, I'd probably sue them because you gave me a financial opportunity and then stripped it away, but you're still asking me to come sit front row at the games to give y'all free promotion. I probably would sue the NBA. Now, different conversation, but the point is, I don't think in these situations that he's been accused of things, throwing bottles, hitting women, throwing things at people in clubs, hitting people in clubs. I don't think in those moments he's thinking about his brand. And that's why I asked y'all these questions. So in that circumstance, 1 second, Dre.
Yeah.
In that circumstance, in Monique's very specific situation, yeah, of course I'm doing the shit for free. Because look at the fucking place you can go once you win the Oscar. Just look around. You're an actor. Just Google on your own who has won an Oscar and look at what they've done afterwards. Then look at Monique's career. I'm almost done,
I'm
Dre, and
sorry.
it's yours. It's okay. And then look at yourself and look at what's happened since then. Because yes, even though they were foul, you burned bridges. In that instance, she burned 4 bridges: the director, the film company, and the 2 executive producers. Lionsgate, the director apologized, so we could scrap him. Fine. But Tyler Perry and Oprah. Tyler Perry and Oprah? Yo, yeah, I'll do a month of free press. What y'all need? 6 months? Yeah, I'll take the hit now to be killing shit later. I think it's a no-brainer. I think she didn't think of brand. Go ahead, Dre.
Now, I feel like this. I feel like we're forgetting like the dynamics of it. And it's all about whatever her contract is, right? So, I mean, this is not the first movie ever made. People have made movies. A lot of times, all this stuff is in your contract when you first come up, right?
Well, that's the dispute. It was.
Okay. So
the U.S. Hold on.
Clarify. Go through.
Yeah. She says in the interview, in her contract, it was U.S. only promotion in the contract.
Okay.
It was domestic. She did the domestic one. They were now saying it did so well. We're in the runnings for the Oscar. You are in the runnings for the Oscar. We need you to now please go do press overseas. We're going to pay for your hotel, whatever. You know how it goes.
Expenses, yeah.
But we won't be paying you for your service this time. Here is why. She said 3 times she declined. And the 3rd time, well, not her representation, which is now her husband.
Sure.
He wasn't at the time.
Yeah.
But her manager said, no. And the 3rd and final time that Lionsgate said, hey, Oprah, Tyler Perry, whoever really wants you to do this, we're running for the Oscar, yada, yada. The husband asked them, is there a dollar amount attached to this overseas promotion? They said no, but we're willing to pay for an extra week for you and your family to stay in France while we do after the promotion is done. Her words, not mine. We'll give you an extra week for y'all to chill and live life and enjoy a vacation, but we will not pay you for the promotion. She said no to that, and then no to Tyler Perry, and reminded Tyler Perry, my contractual obligation is over. Okay. I will not work for free. Go ahead, Dre.
Okay. The only thing, the part that I wanted to say that I don't understand, maybe you know, is that did she have an incentive if the movie does well? Fucking Oscars don't pay bills. But what a lot of times what actors do is say, okay, I'll get the money on the back end, meaning how well the movie does will say this is how much you'll get. So we're going to pay you what we're going to pay you. But if the movie does really, really well, this is how they, get people to do those kind of promotions. Because if the movie does X amount, you get this bonus. If the movie does that amount,
that's not in her contract. She said she was paid $55,000, if I remember correctly,
and that's
$55,000 for her role in Precious, and that the U.S. domestic was the only thing in it. But again, Tyler Perry told her to her face, you can ask around after you win the Oscar. That $55,000 shit is over.
Okay.
Yes, this was an independent film, so you got paid less than normal. We know you're upset about that. You bodied the role. We love that. You're gonna win the Oscar. We just need this thing to be done, and you're gonna win the Oscar. Ask around.
So
If you win the Oscar, there's no more
I
thousands.
dig that. I dig that,
It's
Jay.
millions and millions
Right.
and millions
But Jay,
per role.
what I'm saying is at this
Right.
point, her management should have said, okay, now it's time to renegotiate, right? You seen the whole McDonald's shit. Okay, you want me to do something extra? Rather than saying, well, how much is the money? It's like, okay, y'all not going to pay me. That's fine. That's cool. Now let's have a contract that says if the movie, which you're expecting to do really, really well, if it hits X amount, I get X amount. If it hits this amount, I get this amount. That's what the contract should have been renegotiated if they'd have been thinking like that, because usually that's the way it works when it comes to movies. Now, if they didn't have that because they thinking this low budget is not going to get that much, now they seeing, wow, we might just blow up the things, and you want her to do a thing, you got to give her more of an incentive other than just it's going to come when you do some other project. Well, I feel like either her or them being good managers or being good leaders should have been like, you know what? We believe that this movie is going to really blow up and we need your help to do this. If the movie does really well internationally, you get X percent. If the movie does this much, you get that much. So if the movie does A, you get X. The movie does B, you get Y. The movie does C, you're going to get Z. Give a person an incentive other than, well, in the next project you'll see it. I just don't think that's good business. That's.
Yeah, I disagree.
I would have
you're being way
renegotiated.
too ethical for Hollywood.
Nah, white cats do that shit all the time. Stop. Nope. White boys do that shit all the fucking time. Jack, Nick,
Sure,
all these cats, they'll have those kind of things put in. When they get that low ball and they say, listen, this is all we have. We don't have anything else. They're like, okay, don't even worry about it. I understand that you don't have anything else. I'm going to go in this movie. I'm going to show you my shit, but I'll get it on the back end. And they renegotiate contracts all the time. All the time.
To you, Ness.
Nah. Hold on. Dre, you're right, but those things happen before you agree to do the role.
Right.
But okay,
you hear me or no?
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. Usually it happens in the beginning, but they can renegotiate.
It happens before you agree to the role. The movie was done. The movie was killing shit.
Right.
She was already going to be nominated for the Oscar. At that point, you can't do that, hey, I'll take the back end thing. It's
sure, you can. No, you can't. It's never too late. Contracts are meant to be broken. You can always, if I'm gonna let you go, Nesta, but you can always say, hey, you're asking something extra for me. I'm gonna want something extra for you. If the thing is, well, I can't pay you directly a check, then you can say, well, then let me get a percentage of what we believe the movie's going to do.
Okay, I agree with that, but again, I think she was short-sighted, or they were short-sighted.
Yeah, it's more than one way to skin a cat.
They didn't even have the mind to do what you're saying.
Right.
Forget about whether I agree or not.
Right.
They didn't even have the mind to think about that long game you're talking
about.
Right. Go ahead, Ness.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ness.
So both of you ended up pretty much saying everything I was going to say.
Shucks.
So here's the thing, right? So in her position, all the context that you gave, Jay, like she's bugging. Like flat out, she's bugging. She's crazy. She wasn't thinking about the long term. She wasn't thinking about what they were already offering, the extra they were offering for doing that. However, she 100% could have renegotiated her contract at that point because they're asking for something out of scope. This wasn't part of the original deal. And if they're already saying, hey, we're going to do XYZ, well, okay, to protect herself, you're going to have to write up a new contract anyway for this whole new thing that's going to happen. Just say, hey, cool, I understand that this is happening this way. So if you're expecting certain things, then if we hit certain milestones, then I get a payout from those milestones, if anything. She could have at least asked for that. If you're saying that she straight up was saying no, because
that's
they weren't.
That's what I'm saying,
right? if she's saying that she's straight up saying no because they were saying no, we can't give you the money, like then from that perspective, they weren't thinking about the fact that they had that power to renegotiate. They had that power to ask for something on the back end. If they weren't willing to pay up front, but they were willing to say, hey, we're going to pay for a week's vacation in Paris. Once everything's done, once you do the work, you're going to get a free week out there. Like if you saw me when you said that, I was looking for the mind that she lost, bro. Like,
I did.
like,
I did
like,
see that. I didn't even need my glasses to see it. You know what I'm saying?
like,
Hester was like, I'm packing my bags right now.
like, come on. Like I gotta go out for a little bit, work for some time, but then me and my family out there for a week afterwards, and we just get to chill. Like, yes.
And still enjoy press people. Oh,
Right.
Oh my God.
Right. It's not like it's not like you going out there and you're not gonna get stuff while you're out there, or things aren't gonna happen while you're out there.
Yeah.
But beyond that, do what Dre said, renegotiate the contract to ask for something on the back end, because one, out of scope, which means you have to come up with a new contract anyway. So, hey, you can't pay me now.
It's okay. Right.
Can we work this out? Like, I understand this is what you're offering me, but can we do some more? Because I do have to look out for myself anyway. Like, and that's great that she was looking out for herself, period. And that she was like, hey, I need that money. Right. And that makes sense, because if you look at it and she's definitely not like, oh, a small, like if you think about artists on Twitter /X, right? When they do commissions, you have, or when they open up their commissions, they have to get paid. And then you have a lot of people coming to them asking for art, for drawings, for anything. And they're like, well, I'm doing this for, this platform, for my platform. It's going to get you exposure. Exposure doesn't pay the bills. Like, these people need their money. And yes, it's a different level from where she was at, but still, she has to still think about that. And I feel like she wasn't thinking about that by outright rejecting and not coming up with, a rebuttal that could work in her favor in some way beyond just the free vacation. Because, like, the free vacation is dope, and that's awesome. But then I need something to live till my next job, and that's how most actors think anyway. Yeah, like, in that situation, she was focused on her brand, but in the wrong way.
Yeah.
She was
No, she was not focused on her brand. She was focused on the money.
But the idea is that her brand is, I don't work for free.
Right.
That's her money, personal principle.
So that's the thing. So yeah. So, and that's a great mentality to have, right? If you're good at something, you don't do it for free.
The Joker.
Right?
That's right, Joker.
Right.
Let me add one more thing. You know what?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, Ness. I was going to say, I think the biggest thing when watching that interview made me realize, I think I had the impression, at least, like, oh, Oprah and Monique are buddies and homeboy and homegirls and him and Tom. No, they're not. They just got her this gig, this movie gig. That was it. They're not really rocking like that. They wasn't really rocking like that. Because if they were really rocking like that, they probably would have gave her even a better deal as far as a movie back end, like you guys was talking about. You know what I mean? They probably would have done something. It was just a complete business deal, which is why she took it the way she took it. But I still think she should have thought about, you know what? I'm going to a different place now. I'm doing some serious roles. I'm not doing, what was that wacky comedy she did a long time ago? The Two Big Girls. I don't even know. Right. I remember it. It was an African guy she fell in love with or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? Babs. No, Babs? Was it Babs? Yeah. Whatever it was.
No idea.
I don't even know. Yeah. So,
I don't remember her in Babs.
Yeah, she's moving to. She didn't think of it like, well, I'm moving to a different level, and I'm going someplace where I'm going to an Oscar-worthy performance here. Let me try to. But I totally get what you're saying. But I think the biggest thing I took away from that is they weren't friends. It wasn't like they were
Yeah.
homegirls and they chilled. They didn't chill at all. This was just work.
Strictly business.
Yeah, this is totally business.
If they really were cool, then Oprah would have thought of something to help her out in that situation.
Absolutely.
Like,
Which
yeah,
is
it was just business, and she approached it, as a business decision. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, like even on like they definitely could have thought of a way to help her out in that situation beyond I'm going to give you a free week's vacation. They could have found a way to get her money. It's not. And like Jay said, or Dre said, this isn't the first movie that's been made. This isn't the first movie Oprah made.
No.
Like she knows this, so she definitely could have thought of a way to help her out.
Unless
but I think
you
I
being
think y'all are
stingy.
also minimizing. Oh, go
Yeah.
ahead, Dre.
No, I was gonna say, unless you're being stingy. Sometimes sometimes people bully other people, and it's not really about business. It's like, bitch, it's my way or that's it. There's nothing else to talk about. But if you're smart in business, you think creatively and say, okay, she's not doing it this way. We still want her to do it. What can we do? And you start thinking about things. Okay, how about this or how about that? You know what I mean? If you really want someone to do things for you, you think creatively. But if you're a bully in the business, you say, yo, this is the way it's going to go. And that's it. And I don't think that's good business, man. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah.
I agree with y'all. I just think I think at the same time y'all are minimizing the Oscar. Like the Oscar dictates a lot of shit in that industry. Like saying we're trying to get you the Oscar, that's no small fry. Like that is life-changing shit for most people. So I think that's part of the short-sightedness. Like I hear y'all are right. But I also think y'all are minimizing the Oscar and the attempt of these behemoths pushing to get you the Oscar. That's a big fucking deal.
Okay, but how many people have
I'm in no way minimizing that. Like I definitely understand that. But if things are going to be approached from a business perspective, and if you're gonna come to me and tell me I have to work for free, you still have to make it worth my while.
What's the
and a week's vacation is awesome. Great. But I still need to eat for the rest of the year. 55,000 is nothing.
In the words of Chico DeBarge,
I still need to make it to the next check.
What?
Like if that's what she got for that movie, great. If they're expecting more, if they're expecting so much more, they're gonna eat off of that.
Yeah.
Then
yes, I agree.
Then like give me something. Like there has to be a give somewhere.
Jay,
and she made the wrong move. She made the wrong move, sure. But at the same time, they're wrong for the way they approached it. And for just straight out not even trying to meet her halfway.
Yeah, you Debo.
Because if the only thing that was offered was a free week's vacation,
that's it.
That's it. We're pushing for her Oscar.
And
sure.
Oscar. We're
pushing for the Oscar. You're gonna get this Oscar. You do this, we're gonna do big, right? Great. That's amazing, right? All of those are amazing things and will lead to great things, right? But here's two things, right? You have the money from the movie you already finished. You have to get to the Oscar. And then you have to get to the next job. That's something that has to be thought about.
Sure, but you know what happens the moment you win the Oscar?
Stock goes up.
Yeah, but you still have to wait for all that.
Stop ringing.
You still have to wait for all that. You still have to wait for the next check because the next check doesn't come in as soon as you sign. You still have to wait. So
but when you sign, you get money. Come on.
You get something, but usually it's not money.
You gotta sacrifice a little bit of now for a lot of bit of later.
Hold on.
She already sacrificed taking 55,000. 55,000 is nothing. $55,000 is nothing for someone like me, right? Because I make what, 40 something a year? 55 is nothing.
Yeah, but she could flip that. She could do so much with that.
Sure.
So much.
But she still has to make it to the next check. That's the whole thing.
Listen,
That's where she's
let's be
thinking.
real.
Is she has to
Homophobia is
make it
not
to that
started.
next check.
Bro, we ain't counting pockets.
Shit, bro. Shit, bro.
Stop.
We're not pocket
Yeah,
Homophobia was
watching.
not
We're not
started
pocket
when
watching.
this happened.
Okay. It's been said here that as soon as you get the Oscar, your stock goes up. Jay, what's the woman from Queen, what's that? King
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis, right? Viola Davis came up straight up and said, "Oh, everyone told Viola Davis, you're like the black Meryl Streep." She's like, "Okay, well, if I am, why am I not getting paid like that? I done got the Oscar, I done got this, I done got that, and y'all still not paying me. So you cannot sit here and say once you get the Oscar, your stock goes up. You can people still can devalue you if you allow it."
In the words of Chico DeBarge, nah, 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 no guarantee. Yes, gentlemen, it's not a guarantee. In the words of Jay, I need it in writing. I need it in writing. You could tell me whatever. I need it in writing.
Yeah.
Straight up.
So
No
before
guarantee.
we lose time, I do want to touch on the other part of this question, which was the Chris Brown stuff.
Oh yeah, we totally left that
out. Like you said, Jay, he's not thinking about his brand when whatever it is. Whatever, and as far as people letting things go, he continues to fuck up. Like, it's not like he's sitting there and doing.
That's subjective, though.
Really, him stealing from artists. Him stealing from artists is subjective, because
brother, we don't.
Let him speak. Let him speak. You gotta let him speak.
He posted another artist's picture. He posted an artist picture on his Instagram, blocked out the artist's tag on it, and then when the artist called him out on it, he basically said "fuck you" and left it up there and laughed at the kid. And this was within the last couple years. So he continues to fuck up, and he continues to tarnish his own brand. So if he keeps doing things that way and thinks he's not going to get repercussions, I don't know how he thinks he's not going to get repercussions, because obviously he's still getting repercussions, right? And he's getting repercussions for shit he did a long time ago, but he hasn't shown any remorse for anything he's done. The dude throws tantrums in public on camera. He's done things regularly, publicly, and shown no remorse for it. So of course he's gonna face consequences. And I guess it's subjective if he's doing it publicly and there's evidence of it. I don't know how that's subjective.
It's all about who's looking. I'm the type of person that certain shit just don't move me. That's why I said it's subjective. People want to nitpick when they're bothered by stuff, and when they're offended, or when somebody did something wrong, or oh my God, that's over the top, and why did he say that, and why did he do? That's why it's subjective. It's all about who's looking. You said there's no remorse. I say you're looking from a different lens. Somebody else might see it a different way. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody might look at that behavior and say, oh, okay, maybe it's this, or maybe it's that. It's all subjective, my brother, from me. That's how I look at it.
I mean, he's never really publicly apologized for a lot of the things he's done. So
maybe he didn't feel like he did anything wrong. That's why. It's all subjective.
Nah.
If he thinks stealing isn't wrong, that's kind of weird to me.
All right, but sure, that's one specific example, right? Me being upset.
So he thinks throwing chairs is cool.
Me being upset, right? Because people want to point out his behavior. But come on, brother. If somebody do something and somebody acts a certain way in the moment based off of how they feel, based on that situation, that's like me walking up and seeing you having a fit right now, right?
Okay.
Now, I don't know you. Let's just say I could judge you based off that. Jay could pull up next to me and be like, man, Nestor's just having a bad day. But I don't got to listen to Jay saying Nestor's having a bad day. I could label you from what I see at that moment based on how you act and how you behave.
That's true, but he's a public figure, and that's something he has to think about.
You know when you
That's
say but,
something
it
he has to think
eliminates
about.
everything you said before that, though, right?
What?
Right, you just said
No.
stuff, and
You
I
said,
but that.
and you said but, so it eliminates everything you said before that. You said, I see what you're saying, but. So do
Right.
you see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying, but that works for normal people. He's not a normal person.
Nah,
He's a
you said
public
no.
figure.
I
He's a
feel you.
public figure. He's famous.
Yeah.
He's in the public eye.
Like, he's a human being, man. Don't put
He
that brother on
is. That
that. He's a
yes, he's
human
a
being.
human being. He is a human
Put that
being.
brother on the pedestal.
Normal people have to think about their decisions every day and the things that
Yes.
they do and the actions they take. And they have to face consequences for those actions. Even if it is, I had a bad day and I broke a wall. You still have to,
All right, but
face
then
the
now,
consequences for that, right?
but what I'm
So
saying is now,
if he feels
Let him
like
finish, Days.
that he's going to I'm having a bad day today and act out on that and not fix those things or continue to do things that people call him out on these things, and he doesn't react in a way that seems remorseful, right? And so yes, that's my opinion. He acts in ways that don't seem remorseful. But the problem with that is it's not just my opinion. He, as a public figure, has to consider how he is viewed by the public. Anyone who is a public figure, anyone who decides that their career
they gonna hate
is
me.
to be public facing, right? They have to understand that their actions will have consequences, right? And they have to understand that they can't just act however they want. They have to learn self-control. I, as a child, I still have a massive temper. I can't go flipping tables like I used to when I was 7 because I'm not 7 anymore. I have to learn that that's not how you act as an adult. I have to learn that when I'm facing someone and I need to I'm upset and whatever it is, I have to learn that I did something wrong and I have to own up to that. I can't just sit there and be like, well, I don't feel like I did something wrong, even though everyone around me is telling me I did something wrong. There's something wrong with you if you think that you did nothing wrong when you caused harm to someone. Because theft, that's harming someone. Throwing chairs is harming someone. Because there's people around you who begin to fear you. Because that is what you're putting out. You're putting out an impression that you are a violent person. And if that's how you act, then that's how people are going to view you. And
Yeah, but I think he could,
okay, what's up?
I think he could have not done none of those things, and they would have still been hanging on his ass because of what happened with him and Rihanna.
Probably.
People just don't know how to let stuff go.
That's true.
And
I don't think that's not true.
Hold on, Ness.
And
Let
then
him
the
talk. Let
process-
him talk.
And the process of these examples that you've given, people constantly beat the brother up. So he damned if he do, he damned if he don't. He could walk out there with a 3-piece suit with his hands folded at the desk, and I don't think it would make a difference at all. They already painted a picture. They already have a particular view of him that they just will not let go. You understand what I'm saying? The brothers in the vicinity, people are voicing all types of rumors and complaints. We don't got no proof to this shit, but people jump right on it. We call it black people shit. You know how they be like, oh, whatever they said he did it. Oh, that sound like it. He did it. He's been in this position before. Maybe he did it. That sound like something he would do. It's a lot of that going on. That's why I said it's subjective, my brother.
I get
And like
that.
I said, it's all about who's looking. It's all about who's looking. If somebody got a reason to be upset, I am not going to scrutinize them at that moment. Yeah, I could be like, damn, son, you 35 years old. Why you behaving like that? But his anger just might be justifiable, bro. And I can't tell him how to behave in that space. I could critique it, but who gives a damn? Why should I critique it? The brother has reasoning for how he feels in that space. Unless I'm an angel, unless I'm Jesus, unless I'm God, we must allow people grace to behave in a certain space based off of how they feel within that moment. given the circumstances of the situation, because there's a lot of truth to the things that you said, my brother. You know, my motto is maturity is realizing that you cannot always act the way that you feel. But we will not take away the fact that sometimes people's anger and frustration and how they feel is justifiable based on how things are being perceived and how they're being dealt with in the public side. You know, and this brother's getting beat up left and right, up and down. You feel me? And some people just can't let things go, my brother. We talking about 17 years ago. And then there's other things, alleged things that's being brought up in between.
Yeah, but it's things that, you know, I'm sure not everything, right? Sure, there are probably things that there isn't evidence for, but there are things that he's done publicly that there is evidence for, and he doesn't show remorse for those actions. And you keep bringing up the Rihanna thing. I didn't mention it. I mentioned recent things.
That's the forefront of my example,
Right, but I mentioned recent things he did, right? So say he never did any of the new stuff, right? Say it was only the Rihanna thing, right?
Yeah, but what is the new stuff? Like complaints or
there like
throwing chairs,
him stealing from artists, him laughing in the artist's
one
face.
Artist that you brought the example up, that one artist.
That was one time, but it wasn't the first time he did it, and it wasn't the only time he did it. There are other instances where it's happened. It's just even if it was just the one, even if it was just
that's my thing, brother.
So here's the thing. This is recent is the thing, because you said 17 years ago. I brought up recent, right? I brought up a recent instance that I remember happening very publicly, that he stole from an artist and laughed in the artist's face when they called him out. Said, I don't got to give you credit. Like, that is a very public thing that was recent. That's why I mentioned that one. But it wasn't the only time he did that. Multiple artists came out after that, and they have screenshots of him posting their stuff without their tag on it.
I feel you, brother. I just feel like that brother's going to always be public enemy number one.
Now,
assume
we'll take the conversation to the assumption that all of this recent stuff didn't happen, and it was only that one instance. The big problem with that is he's done nothing since to show there's a change, and he's done nothing since to show remorse or even compassion towards her. And he doesn't need to do anything for her, but that idea comes into, well, maybe he can support victims of abuse or do things in that realm. Well, I fucked up in this way and I realized that was wrong. And so I'm going to do things that help and remedy people in the situation where I fucked up. There's lots of people who go to jail for years, did some fucked up thing, come out and do things to try to remedy what put them in that position, or the crime they committed, try to keep people from committing that same crime, or do things in that way. And he will have for a long time a platform to do that. And it's not like he doesn't have the platform. He has it.
Yeah, but I'm saying, based off of what I'm seeing, brother, it really doesn't. I feel like if he does or if he don't, he's still being approached the same way, brother. I hear everything you're saying.
Because he keeps doing things is the problem. Right. If he wasn't,
I'm going to say it again.
And I'm saying if he wasn't.
Advocates, I'm going to say it again. Whether if he advocates or he doesn't, he's still being approached and viewed the same way. I'm going to say it again. Whether if he advocates or he doesn't. Whether if he goes your route or not. I'm on the internet. I'm everywhere. All I hear is abuse and Rihanna. I don't even hear those other things. As soon as you see Chris Brown, that's the first thing they jump out the window with.
Okay.
That is the most top publicized scrutiny comment that you see everywhere. I saw the NBA. You know what I saw in the comments? Oh my God, look what he did to that woman. Oh my God, that girl, Rihanna. Whoop, whoop. I didn't even hear those things that you see. Yeah. That's what you hear. Okay. That right there.
But there's a reason.
Like the icing on the cake.
But there's a reason, and it's not just because he did it. It's because, like I said, he's done nothing to show remorse for it publicly.
Yeah, but okay, I gotta jump in.
And you say that it won't change anything, but it's changed things for so many
No, I'm saying
people.
I feel like that. Whether
Right,
if
you
he
feel
did or
like
he
that,
didn't,
but I'm
based off of
saying
what
that
I
there's evidence exists that it would change something, because there's so many people without his platform who have done it, and it's changed people's views on them.
yeah, but
And
they're
then
not
even
him.
publicly, huh?
They're not him. I feel like people have a certain obsession with him.
Okay, I gotta jump in real
Okay.
quick. One, Ness, you're wrong. He has apologized
Okay.
and he has done things publicly
Okay.
with the Rihanna incident. So I gotta
And
clarify
she
that.
did too. She spoke
I was
about it
getting
too.
to that. Yeah, they
Okay.
both have addressed it. They both have said they were both wrong. They both apologized to each other, the public, the people who got involved afterwards, i.e., Jay-Z, and his foul comments towards Chris Brown. A lot of that has been addressed and apologized for publicly by both of them. So that, you're wrong.
Okay.
On the next thing, yes, y'all both said so much. I'm trying to remember in chronological order, but I'm gonna try to respond where I can. Whether the allegations of abuse are true or not, we don't know, right? We know, yes, Rihanna, yes, they both apologized. Yeah, we know that one. Days is correct. The first thing that is brought up every time is Rihanna, which was 17 years ago. Why? Because we know that one happened. Why? Because that one is the most public. So even like the example I gave of Karrueche, the people on Fox News don't know Karrueche. They know Rihanna. So they immediately mention Rihanna. Days is correct in that. However, on the flip side of that coin, going back to this conversation and how it started, brand.
Correct.
When you are a public figure, which is what Nestor said about Chris Brown being a public figure, when you are a front-facing person, a person that the public sees a lot of what you do, you have to consider these things more than a regular person. I am a nobody. I still have to consider what I do because on this and other platforms, I am a public person. So if I just say, hey, fuck all of you, I'm going to burn down your houses, whether I do it or not, I have now said a very public thing. I have to consider that even though I'm nobody. As your celebrity increases, as your profile increases, you must consider these things even more. Is Dexter Remy being flied all around the globe in Lear jets to be the personal trainer for the presidents of each nation? No. But he still has to consider the things he does because he is a person in the public eye. Everyone in the public eye has to consider these things as they do everything in life. They will be scrutinized more than me, you, and everyone else. It sucks. It's not fair, but it is the reality that you sign up for when you become a public figure of any kind. The people on Good Morning America who are dating each other's spouses, they are public figures who are being scrutinized for that. They are being fired from jobs for this unethical, quote unquote, that's debatable, but this quote unquote unethical thing that was seen in the public. We saw y'all flirting. We saw you touching her thigh every morning on the show. That goes against our brand's beliefs, which leads me to the final point. Yeah, you could not give a fuck and say, when I'm angry, I'm going to throw chairs. You could not give a fuck and say, hey, I got done dirty by an artist before. I'm now going to do all artists dirty. You could do all of that. In fact, you could go around and burn everybody's house down. But that also means that the same way you don't give a fuck about your brand in those moments, people will see that and consider how their brand is being viewed when they are associated with you. So if I say, hey, I'm going to go burn down anyone's house who makes me angry. Well, no, the NBA is not going to want to be affiliated with you. Again, the NBA fucked up. I'm just using them as an example here. But anyone can say, yeah, I don't want to be associated with JD. Yeah, we see you drinking coffee a lot. Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks have reached out and considered giving you a brand deal. But then they did a Google search and saw every episode you say you're going to burn people's houses down. We don't support arson. We don't support JD.
See, the
We
key
have
word
no
is every
interest.
time.
Huh?
It was a reoccurring thing. I just have this thing where people talk about one time situations like it's a reoccurring thing.
But it
So
doesn't matter when you're public, Days. You could do one thing. It only takes, okay.
that's what I'm
What?
saying. No, I'm agreeing with you. But
Oh,
when
okay.
people start talking about it like it's a reoccurring thing, you said you was gonna burn down houses one time. You know, this guy always talking about burning down houses. Bruh, he said it one time, bruh.
But that's all it takes.
He apologized about it. But people will talk,
Don't
man,
matter.
he keep talking about burning down houses. I'm tired of hearing about him burning down houses. Bruh, see, that's the shit that, you understand what I'm
Yeah,
getting
but that
at?
one's a bad example though, D. Because
It's
Rihanna's
not.
not
People
the
do talk
only
about it like it's reoccurring.
because Rihanna is not the only woman who he is alleged to have abused.
Alleged.
And I said alleged now, but that's the problem. So when these incidents continue to arise, it becomes something that people are, listen, Michael Jackson been dead for years. People still say, hey, Michael Jackson was fucking little boys. Michael Jackson was touching little boys. He been gone for years. There was never any proof. He
Guys,
went to
I'm going to head
trial
out.
and beat the trial. Go ahead, Dex. Thanks for
Guys,
being here.
But if that's
good
the
to see you
label they
guys.
gave you, some people could act on that label based off of what what you're labeled as.
And that's exactly what we're saying. So Chris Brown is not doing many things to help his situation. He keeps putting himself in precarious situations with women in public spaces. The chair throwing that Nestor mentioned is not the only bad behavior, quote unquote, he's had in public. He has been in public throwing bottles, fighting, all type of shit. That's not helping brands want to do things with you. Nobody's going to want to be with someone who can't behave. That's the problem. So when you're in the public eye, yeah, it takes one time. And that's a stain. If I go burn down one house, excuse me, shit, I could cook dinner right now and burn down my own house. And they're going to say, oh yeah, that guy, you got to be careful. Don't let him cook. He might burn down your whole house. It takes once. It also depends on what it is.
Correct.
If you pee the bed once, they might say, man, he just drank too much water. But nigga, that's not the same as burning down the building or punching. If we at a club and I get mad at you and punch your mom in the face, I say, oh, I can't reach Days. He's too far, but his mom's right there. I'm going to snuff his mom. I only got to hit one mom for me to be the nigga nobody want around their mom. That's a big offense. I would never hit your mom. Shout out to mom. Much love to mom. Just giving an extreme example.
Yeah, I got you.
I can't have the mom hitting reputation. So can't do it. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from when you say that, like, they keep bringing up this one thing. And yes, I actually do remember that, like, both of them, like, took responsibility for their parts.
And they've even done music together after.
Yeah, I do remember
They're
all
cool.
of that. It's just that part, right? Even though it is the only thing they bring up, it is, like Jay just said, because he's not doing anything. He's not doing anything to remedy that public opinion. He's
Stain,
not. Yeah, he's not doing anything to remedy that side of things, and he continues to get into situations, and then it'll be like, well, you know, that, I mean, what else do you expect from him? He's the dude that beat up Rihanna. And then, yeah, it's going to always come up because it was the most publicly facing thing. And it was the thing that was like, yep, we know that that's what that happened.
If people keep approaching the conversation like that, I'm going to not care. Like, I feel like he stopped giving a fuck because he feel like he damned if he do and he damned if he don't. So he
but
just
never
don't
did is the problem.
Brother, stop.
He keeps
don'ting. Never is definitive. Jay just said that wasn't true. Never is definitive, and that's what me and you keep disconnecting at.
It's okay. Not true. So it's a thing he has to continue. As far as
I don't know if I agree with that either.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, like, this is what I'll say, and I said we said the same thing on hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I think that domestic violence leaves a stain on you, whether you're a brand or not. When and this is the question that we don't know the answer to. The quote unquote thing is that once a person does their time for the crime, whether that's paying a fine or doing a bid in prison, they are supposed to be forgiven and your debt is paid to society. It does not seem that is true in every instance, This is one of them. The Rihanna thing will forever be tied to both of them, more so to him because of the way it is viewed publicly. No doubt about that. The question is, well, then when do we forgive him as a society? Because it's been 17 years. And sure, other things aside, let's just deal with the Rihanna of it all right now. When is that forgivable? When can we move on as a society? That's the question. Because yes, it's not fair that it's still tied to him. The question is, should it still be tied to him? That's the
Like
question.
Ness, right? So this is real dear to me. I fought a case for 2 years because somebody said I did something I didn't do. They beat themselves up, took pictures and said I did it. Never did none of that. And that was just one case. I had multiple cases. But with that case, they tried to give me 10 years for something that I didn't do. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the truth has not came out. Nobody said, nah, that wasn't true. Nah, I lied. Nah, I wasn't telling the truth. Now, I want you to understand that there's a certain point in time where that thing was hanging over my head. But now I live my life like, fuck them telling the truth. I know what I didn't do. You know, there's a certain point in time where that I don't give a fuck kicks in. And you really don't give a fuck what the narrative is. You understand what I'm saying? Because people gonna view it any way they want to. I got cousins that be like, son, did you? And they know my character. Did you do it? You got some fucking nerve talking about did I do it? That ain't even how I live my life. You understand what I'm trying to say to you? So I'm saying to you, aside from Breezy, you know, somebody here, you could live your life according to whatever. And people gonna speculate how they want to speculate, my brother. You feel what I'm saying? And there's a certain point in time where you say, yo, you know what? I don't really give a fuck what they think. I don't really give a fuck what they say. I don't really give a fuck what they feel. There might be people that might see this pod and see this conversation with me, and they might be like, did you feel what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I told you the truth has not prevailed. This was in 2013, 2014, 2015, brother, and I live my life. But sometimes I be like, I wonder if it crossed their mind, if they think, if they see, if they view. Mind you, I didn't do nothing. It was just a bunch of accusations.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Now, a woman could be standing next to me knowing how I live my life and could run with that narrative. And what people going to look at the past and be like, well, he was accused. He did fight a case for 2 years. I don't know. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just saying at some point, bro, and I can't speak for the brother, but you just stop giving a fuck, bro. Because you damned if you do, and you damned if you don't.
So
based off of,
I have a question to that. Are you beating people up now?
I knew you was gonna allude to that, but I think you overlooked the point that I was making, bro.
I understand that.
I don't know, but I'm not even.
And
I don't give a fuck about that.
And I understand that part. But if the thing is, right?
Yeah, but I can't lose my cool, though.
Right?
I can't have a disagreement. I can't. You feel that's the shit that's weighing on my mental. Because now if Days loses school, oh shit.
That's things you got to think about.
You just hit it on the head, Days.
Right.
Huh? You just hit it on. You just hit it on the head.
You got to think about that. You have to keep that under consideration. You have a mark on you now. It may not have been a mark that you put yourself, right? It's something that someone else, put on you, right? Regardless of if it's true or false, it's now something that's a part of how people view you. And so it's something that you have to consider every day. And he doesn't act in that way, as if he's keeping these things under consideration.
I don't see it as a part how people view me until anger's involved. See, that's the part y'all missing. On a regular day, I'm good. But when it comes to somebody bothering me and me losing my cool, people like, okay.
But we do see that. And that's why I said you hit it on the head. Because when Chris Brown gets angry, that's what he's supposed to consider.
He don't have the right to get angry. He don't have the right
to be angry, but there's healthy ways to express that. Every time I get angry,
can I throw a chair at you?
My brother, all right. If that day you feel like throwing a chair, that day, all right, cool. I can't be upset at you. I don't know why the fuck you threw a chair that day.
But what happens the next time we in a place where there's chairs?
You throwing chairs every day of the week?
But that's what we're saying. There's video evidence of him doing that.
You're proving our point. He continues to misbehave publicly.
Yeah, but his behavior, it varies. Like he ain't
But
throwing
it's still
chairs every day.
bad behavior. That's all we
It's
see is
still
bad
excessive.
behavior.
It's still beyond how he should be acting. First, it's
Why,
beyond.
why would I want to pay anybody? Forget about Chris Brown. I'm nobody. Forget about the NBA, Lionsgate, all these conglomerates. Why would I want to pay anybody who cannot behave in public? The person in our families, fuck money, the person in our families who we know, hey, this person can't behave publicly, we normally don't go places with
But
them
how we know he's
publicly.
not being provoked? Like, you feel me? Like,
Son, you can't get provoked every time you act out, son. And even if you are, you need to learn how to deal with that in other ways besides becoming physical. You can't throw bottles because somebody provoked you. You can't throw chairs because someone provoked you. Especially not when you are a person who's famous and under public scrutiny every day. Yes, you can say, I no longer give a fuck about what happened with Rihanna. No problem. But son, there's mad other shit that has happened in the 17 years. You got to give a fuck at some point, or understand that your brand will continue to be diminished because nobody want to pay anybody to do anything. Why you had 5 incidents in clubs? I don't know. But what I do know is if I own a club tomorrow, no, I don't want to pay Chris Brown to come to the club because he keeps having incidents in clubs.
and I'm saying the incidents could be due to the fact that people don't want to let shit go. They just don't know.
Okay, cool.
That's fine.
That's
but
fine.
if you don't
but
care,
again,
if
when
you don't
they
care
provoke
about the
you,
thing, they're
you
not
gotta
letting
think
go.
about,
Yeah.
okay, what's about to happen if I throw this chair? Son, you do that. You consider things. I know that. And you just said it. When you get angry, you have to consider. Well, so does Chris Brown. So.
That's
So does Chris
honestly
Brown.
all it is. That's honestly all I'm saying is that he has to take these things into consideration, even if it's something in the past a long time ago, because it's a part of how people view him. And yes, probably they shouldn't be, right? Because probably that one instance should be let go because it is a situation that between the parties has been squashed, right? Both parties took, their responsibility for what happened, right? Cool. But as a public figure, people aren't always going to let that go unless they actually see some kind of change in you. And part of the problem is
change that they want to see, because you're
they want to see a positive change. They want to see a positive change.
They
right?
want to see you feeding ducks at the pond and shit like that.
Sure.
They want to see you feed birds in the park.
But
like some people have specifics.
So those are things that would be helpful. The problem is he's also doing things that are hurtful. He has to erase the hurtful things. Those things that are hurtful to his image, he has to go away from that. He has to take into consideration anytime someone tries to start shit with him, anytime, people, whatever, bring up past shit. If it's really a don't give a fuck attitude that he has, then it shouldn't push him to that point to keep acting in that way. Right? Because that's just going to keep hurting. And so everybody's going to feel like, well, he's still that guy.
Or then if the same way you don't give a fuck, then don't give a fuck about what happens to your brand and your pockets.
Right.
It can't be both.
Well, I could not give a fuck, but if you're leading with this thing, then yeah, I'm going to come on, bro. Really? It's going to be like one of those, word.
But again,
if
someone's bringing that up to you,
that's not helping.
Are you gonna be throwing chairs at them?
You,
are you
Chris Brown? Right.
No, I'm saying,
exactly.
Because he brought that part in, right? If someone brings that part up to you, are you personally, are you gonna act out in that way?
Say that again. If somebody brings it up to me,
yes. If somebody brings up those past things to you, are you going to get into fights with them, throw chairs, and act out in that way? Or are you going to consider...
I'm not going to do those things, but if they're responding to me and saying certain things to me, then I might speak to them. And you feel what I'm saying? They might be saying, yo, son, did you do it? Or and I, brother, are you serious, man? Are you really asking me this question?
But
I may address certain things.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But no, I don't have to act out like that at all.
Exactly.
So you're approaching what happened to him and what's happening to him from a personal place. So you also have to look at it as you, right? If you're attaching yourself to what happened to him, right? You also have to look at it as how you would respond, right? If he's acting in a way that is counter to how you feel you would respond if people were doing the same thing, then you don't have to, view him a certain way, but
It's
you
constant.
should be able to see that he's doing something that is incorrect. If he continues to react in a certain way, right?
I just don't know what the brother need to do. Like I said, do you need to sit down with the Pope?
He
The
needs
brother
to
needs to
not
have
Jesus.
react. I'm
in
saying from
those
the
ways.
public's eye. From the public's eye, because people will be trying to tell you how to do certain things. Well, maybe you should do this, and maybe you should do that. And
I don't personally. I don't care if he does nothing good for the rest of his life, but if he continues to do, like, if he lives a middle of the road life, fine. I don't give a shit, right? But part of the problem, right, regardless if it's a focus on that one instance, part of the problem is he continues to do things negative, right? He doesn't have to get a net positive. He can live a life that's zero sum the rest of his life. But one thing is, those past instances will still weigh on him. He will still be viewed in that way, right? But this is all because he's a public figure, right? So those things will be there, right?
You do know, like Jay said, it's always that thing.
Right.
They're not saying what you're saying. Yo,
right.
He was throwing cheers. He had Drake with a bottle.
Right.
No, they're like this.
But the reason it keeps going back to that is because everything he's done since has been that person.
What do you mean, that person?
The person who beat Rihanna. So they're going to go back to that.
Yeah, but that's why I asked the question. When should we let the people who served their time and when do we grant them penance? Because 17 years ago, they're cool and making music together.
Right.
Like, at what point do we let it go?
I feel like part of the problem, the reason that can't get let go, is because he's done nothing, in the pot to get a net positive. I feel like that's why that can't get let go, is because that's the person he is now.
I think this has become something else, crazy, and I gotta go.
I gotta go too, but I just want to say something. You know what's crazy? People could watch this pod right now, right? And after I told that story, let me get excited and passionate. Niggas will be like, and maybe he did.
Yeah, but again, the problem is if you continue to misbehave. Right.
No,
in your instance, it's not continue, right? In your instance,
cool. People gonna speculate.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's
I can't
part
even
of
get upset that my food is not right.
Yeah.
I can't even. God damn it! They gave me a ticket. Niggas gonna be like, damn, maybe shit, it's a little aggressive. Maybe I wonder how he did handle those issues. You understand? It's like you're a prisoner to that situation.
Yes.
To a certain extent.
Yes, and that's what we're saying. Yeah. Yes, you're right, which is why it would behoove Chris Brown to stop misbehaving in public.
It's not like he's just getting passionate about things or getting upset about something. It's the way he acts when he gets upset. It's the way it's the actions he takes.
That doesn't excuse everything.
We looking at this thing differently, brother. Like you can't shoot somebody and tell them how to bleed. You can't cut somebody and tell them. And
you're again. We already said you're right about that part. You keep going back to it.
He can feel however he wants to feel.
We're with you on that part. The part is what happens after that. You listen. If your example is somebody got shot, right? Cool. The person who shot them, they can't walk around with a gun and flash it at people. They can't punch people in the mouth. They can't be shouting at people at the top of their lungs.
So they got to be a motherfucking saint.
No,
Niggas
they
gotta be
have
the
to
same.
behave like every citizen. That is the point we're trying to make.
Nigga, if
Or,
citizens lose their cool, niggas got emotions, brother.
Yes.
all right, Days, you're not getting it.
No,
Look,
I am getting
look,
it. I'm
look,
just
No,
being
you're not.
definitive.
look,
You feel what I'm saying? Like,
No, you're not getting it. And
look.
listen,
brother,
people could put it in the comments, but
If
you're
yeah,
it's
they
not.
can put it in the comments. I'm saying that like
to
I said to Ness, if I see Ness losing his cool in a coffee shop, I can't forever think of Ness in that light, brother. I can't forever. He probably had a bad day that day. But who knows if he loses cool somewhere else? That
But
brother's human.
how many public bad days are you allowed?
My brother, that brother's human, bro. I want that
You,
nigga to be
not,
insane.
those rules do
no,
not apply
just
the same way
manage
to
your
celebrities. We already
emotions.
told you that.
Just manage your
I agree
emotions.
with that.
That's it.
I agree with that, bro. But there may be some days where your emotions may be unmanageable, bro. You gotta give people grace, God.
No, then you need to go to therapy and deal
Right.
with your emotions.
There are ways to deal with that.
I
Right?
get it, bro. I guess y'all brothers don't get emotional.
My
Guess I
temper
never
Of
get
issues,
course we
right?
do, but we don't throw chairs and do things
Okay.
All right,
on
but that's
camera
one
repeatedly.
example. All right, y'all
So
keep
real quick.
using it, throwing chairs.
Okay.
People can get emotional
Look.
in other ways, my
Right.
brother. All right,
But
we
we're
got
giving you
throwing
the
chairs.
examples of what he has done that we know.
Right.
We're not even bringing up the allegations.
So
We brought up the things we have seen
I don't even know about
publicly.
this shit. I'm just listening to things that y'all saying. So it's just hearsay to me. The throwing chairs, I know about the bottle,
But Days,
but
these
that's
things are
hearsay.
on. A lot of these things that we're mentioning have been proven.
All right, but I'm not saying that you're not. I haven't seen any of it. This is the first thing I'm hearing
But
of it. You
but
understand what I'm saying?
you're saying it's
Okay.
hearsay. It's not hearsay if it's been proven.
right.
All right, but if I'm hearing it from you and I don't have the proof in front of me,
But then
you
that means you don't believe us. That's a whole
no, that's
different
not
thing.
true, my brother. I just don't see that. I didn't see the evidence for it. This is my first time hearing of it from you
All right.
guys.
Okay.
All right, that's what I'm. This is my first time hearing it from you guys. I've never heard about Chris Brown throwing a chair. I haven't seen anything of it. I don't do celebrity shit. I'm a Sigma. You forgot? I'm a lone wolf. I march to with my own drum. I'm being honest. I don't do celebrity shit. That's why sometimes when I'm on podcasts and people start having conversations, I'm passionate. So I indulge in the conversation. But then when you start bringing out certain examples of things, I'm like, I'm not privy of that.
But
You
then at the
understand
same
what I'm
time,
saying?
you
If I
can't
had to
argue
name
against
the
it.
incidents with Chris Brown, it probably would be Rihanna, Karuchi, and Drake throwing the bottle, and him grabbing somebody's phone. I'm being honest with you. That I don't do celebrity shit.
But
I
then you
don't.
can't argue against it, Days.
So I'm not arguing against it. I just said this is the first time that I heard it from you guys.
Okay.
Is
I
that
think when you
all
watch
Okay.
this back, you'll see otherwise.
Yeah.
right?
This
This
argument
is the
started
first
30
time I'm
minutes
hearing
ago.
it from you guys. I don't
Hold
know
on.
how that's an argument. This is the first time I'm hearing it from you
That's
guys.
fine. But do you think that even just you almost filled up your hand with the instances you know? Should an adult, because honestly, sure, the Rihanna instance, he was very young. Sure, why not? Let's give him that, right? Everything else after, he wasn't a kid anymore. Everything after was after a very huge incident of violence in his life. He's not going to take the time to try to fix that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to keep, you're going to keep counting things that happen. There has to be a point where he has to say it's enough. And he has to get those things fixed in his life where this isn't how he's reacting. My temper issues are from a neurological disorder that I have, right? I have a very big reason for why I have my temper issues. I cannot act out in that way I did when I was a kid. I can't have fights every year. When I was in school, I was fighting every year. I can't keep doing that. I have to at some point decide, hey, this isn't how I want to be viewed. I don't want to be seen as a violent person.
Yeah, but only God could judge you, brother.
That's fine.
When you're a
I have to
celebrity.
live with people until then.
Only God could judge me. Put
That's
the gavel
great.
away.
But I have to deal
Only
with,
God could judge
interact
me.
with
Put the gavel
people.
away.
I still have to interact with people until
feel
then,
you.
right? So I need to make that time as easy as possible for me. And if everyone that knows me as a violent person, that's not going to be an easy time for me.
That's only if you care about that title. People
Right.
knowing me as a violent person. That's what I don't know, bro. I view things different.
But son,
Societal
if
views don't matter to me. You
but
get
he
so
does,
sometimes
but
when I
he
hear
does
my
But the
care
people you
about the
interact
NBA
with,
asking him to come play in the celebrity game.
yeah,
He does care
he
that he's
has to.
not being
I'm giving
nominated
my
for
opinion.
Grammys.
I'm saying
He
That
does
my
care
opinion,
about all
yes.
of these things.
But right, he cares about these
he
things.
cares.
These are things he
But I'm
definitely
saying
should be
my
caring about.
opinion is like marching to the beat of your own drum. Only God could judge me. Don't really give a fuck about societal's views. Who gives a fuck who's looking? At the end of the day, it's my shit that I gotta live with. I gotta correct my steps. I gotta better myself. Oh, you got an opinion? That's fine. You got a critique? That's fine. But at the end of the day, I'm inside this body. I gotta deal with this shit. I gotta better myself. I gotta elevate. I don't know. That's just how I view things, my brother. Only God could judge me. Put the gavel away. Only God could judge that man. Yeah, people could be onlookers. They can have their opinions. They can have their critiques. They can say whatever. But at the end of the day, only God could judge that man.
Not when you're a brand.
Yeah.
Only God could judge that man.
Okay. Agree to
Ultimately.
disagree.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, respectfully.
On that note, we're out of here. We see y'all next month.